loose forward Ronnie Bell, who will play in number 15, Juice.
Walking out as well to the field, so there's only about 1.5, 2 minutes. Good racer. I'll get the score for you, but it was won quite decisively by Otahuhu over Manukau, 25-9. They led 17-4, I think it was at half-time. So congratulations, that's a great championship gold. So those are the two colours really today, Glenora in the blue and Mount Albert in the gold.
And then the team's line-up, Mr. Ray will introduce Sir Dennis Bundle, who will introduce the players of both sides. Big one of the year, the Grindwood, of course, the referee sponsored this year by Chester and Blackberry Limited.
It's been taken and it looks straight away up to the wing three-quarter. Should say not the wing three-quarter. Ronnie Bell takes it. He's caught an attack. Pawesa has it now, about 2 or 3 metres outside the 22, heading towards centre field. Glenora, as I say, defending the number 2 end of Carlisle Park, and there's a deep kick by Dennis Williams, and back goes the racing Mark Tarvey to take the ball about 15-10 outside his try line. He'll take on Felix now, tries to get away from Paul Felix, the grandstand winger today for Glenora, but he's held up by him, and he'll play the ball back to Warren Collicoat, who's marking Felix today, the Mount Albert winger. Spins it out to his captain Shane Cooper. Cooper gets it on this time to Randall Patel. He's quickly knocked over in a high tackle against Pawesa. And it'll be a penalty for Mount Albert, the first in the game. Remember, they lost the toss. There's a bit of a breeze blowing at the park too, so Glenora have all advantage at the moment. A right foot kicked in by John Ackland, only gains about 10 metres. They're still about 10 inside their own half. Tap to be taken by John Ackland, second row. Kicks deep and says we'll play the game in Glenora's half. And a nice sideline kick by John Ackland. A very good right footer down a right touch. He gained something like 48 metres and brings Mount Albert back inside Glenora's 22. And obvious tactics here by coach Mike McLennan is to play this game inside the quarter of Glenora, and this would be a winning factor if they can win plenty of ball, and that's the big factor at the moment in this game, possession. Brian Conning, the captain for Glenora, puts it in. It's won by Mount Albert. Out comes Shane Cooper. On it goes now to Glenn Townsend. He's caught by Vinnie Hokamau just inside the Glenora 22, heading towards centre field. Paul Gordon, a dummy half. Out it comes now, and to Cooper. Cooper sends it on nicely this time to the prop forward Dominic Clark, and Clark is held about 18 metres outside the 22. It goes back then to John Ackland. Ackland out to Cooper. Cooper sends out to Townsend. They work across to Warren Collicoat on the grandstand side. Collicoat. In goes Felix, low, and down goes Collicoat. Still 12 metres short of the try line. Marcus Powisi, a dummy half from Shane Cooper. The pass heading towards centre field now. Prop forward Dominic Clark has it, taken low, and a good tackle in by the second row. That's Shomko. But still it's all man out, calling the tuners. Kosini Kepper heads hard from dummy half and almost gets clear, and just caught 3 metres short of the line. They're under pressure, Glenora. Cooper sends on to Gary Prome. He's there, he's held up, driven back. Oh, very, very nearly there. Fine movement, fast play. Glenora asleep at the moment. And it was one of the stars expected of this game today. Gary Prome very nearly getting through, and he was stopped by Dane O'Hara and Alan Williams. My word, they were asleep in or around that play the ball. Conning to put it in. Another hook ran out its way. The fears that they worried about might be astray today, and that was ball. They've won 2 scrums now, and they've got it again. And Cooper gets up to play this ball. Back to his loose forward, Prome. Prome goes straight ahead. Hit, however, by a pretty fast-moving 2 standoff, I think it was. No, prop forward, Jake Farfu, and Prome slow to get to his feet as Cooper at dummy half gets away to John Ackland. Ackland out to Mark Tarvey, the fullback, flying in close, too close. And in goes the forward cover defence end. Dennis Lovell, the prop forward, has him as Kepu, the dummy half. Fires it out now to John Ackland, to Randa Patel. Patel, they work their forwards correctly and well, and still held up, however, and there's plenty of pressure on Glenora. The tap ahead for Randa Patel. Turns on his back, he's there. He is there for the first easy try. Well, you wouldn't believe how asleep really Glenora are at the moment. They're slow to walk to their work. Good tactics by John Ackland. They go back getting through, and now to score a try. It was a simple one, just going from dummy half, and not quite dummy half, but bulldozing his way over. And very much out of the game have been Glenora. So I see them now in a huddle. Dane O'Hara is calling the tune, really. He's almost adopted role of captaincy. O'Hara, he does this a lot overseas. He really tries to rally the side, and this is what's really happened at the moment. The Glenora side have just been partially asleep, as Collicoat will raise the flags, because Patel's try was only scored about 6 metres away to the right of the upright, so there's not much problem of Collicoat converting that one. 5-0 they lead, and a very, very useful lead of 5-0 Mount Albert. Many contended that hooking would be the greatest factor in the game, because the ground is very, very firm indeed, and on a firm ground, if you break evens in scrummaging, I would say Mount Albert to win, but one expected Glenora side to get about 60% of the ball, and so there became that uncertainty in the game. They've got the breeze behind them. They're down 5. This is Glenora as Dennis Williams kicks off, and a deep kick. It'll be taken by Warren Collicoat, a former fullback. Now he runs up, heads toward the 22. Felix comes across. In goes Pat Paweza, drops the Mount Albert winger to the ground. He'll play the ball inside their 22 to Kepu. Kepu sends it out to Cooper. Cooper out to Dominic Clark. Clark is caught by 3 Glenora players, still on the 22. Grandstand side is now, it's into Kepu from the dummy half, out to Cooper. Cooper sends out to Paul Gordon, jinks a little bit, tries to get his way clear, turns the ball back this time to Cooper, works the blind side to Prome. Prome is there, cuts out a man to Collicoat, comes down the grandstand touch, looks for support, it's in there, goes into Felix. Felix hits him hard, and a couple of metres inside the half. But all men over, dictate play. Prome from dummy half. They veer it away from the grandstand side. Kepu sending out to Glenn Townsend. Props, veers back toward the grandstand side, links up with Cooper. There's a gap on the blind here, but Cooper elects to go infield, turns it nicely then onto Glenn Townsend. He finds himself in the clear. Fullback to beat. Alan Williams sends it out to Mark Tarvey. He's lost control because the hand in of Alan Williams, the Glenora fullback, knocked the ball forward, and dead lucky indeed were Glenora again for try number 2. Is this going to be an easy final? 5-0. Mount Albert call the tune at the moment as down goes the scrum. The Glenora, the Bears yet to win a ball, and oh my word, feet out, really almost outside the channel then, and that was Cliff Pittman. In they go, play on, it's a Glenora ball, out it goes to Mindy Hokamai, who's caught easily then. Delay, waited for fullback Williams to come in, and winger, and instead had to take the tackle. As they, from the play of the ball, it's Brian Conning, sends it out to Ronnie Bell. Bell gets it out nicely to, let's have a see, Shumkle is the man getting up to play the ball now. As Dennis Williams says, let's play it in their half too, as he takes the ball and drives them back with a deep kick onto the 22 in Mount Albert territory. So good tactics here going by both sides, and it should be from Glenora. They have the breeze behind them, and he, first time they've won the scrum quickly, he says, let's apply pressure, and that's what they've got to do. 7 minutes gone, a lead of 5-0 Mount Albert. Don't forget they turn with the breeze behind them, no sun really at the park, and one would imagine The sun won't shine today. There's another hook Glenora's way, but too slow, and it'll be a penalty against Shane Cooper for not retiring. So let's have a look what Dennis Williams is going to do. Kick down the grandstand touch, one would imagine. Get near that goal line. He just a little stab kick too. And now it's about 12 metres short of the line. And he moves on. I'm looking at Pat Paweza at the moment, who's standing deep and behind. There's a three-man mushroom here as it comes back to who? Paweza takes it. No, it's Cliff Pittman who has it. Almost a shepherd too by the way they obstructed the movement of the ball then. However, they've got away with it, and Pittman to play the ball. No damage done as Faith Farfu takes it out down to Brian Conning. In this time goes Dennis Williams amongst the forwards, trying to accelerate and drag the pack in, which is a bit wider. He's caught. They play the ball out to Dennis Lovell. They have a go, Glenora now, and he's knocked over about 5 short of the line by John Ackland. Quickly Conning, the captain, a dummy half. Out it goes down to Ronnie Bell. Bell out to Farfu, but the gaps aren't there. The yellow jerseys are there instead. That's the Manawatu players 10 short of the line. In centre field, Paweza in a dummy half. He should be out as it comes out now to Shomko. Shomko gets away to the outside centre, and he is knocked over, and that would be, no, the halfback. Alan Williams was the man then as it's come back now to Dane O'Hara. He can't move either. Gets away to Shomko. Has a go for the line. He's caught 1 metre short. Uncertain really at the moment. Manawatu good and close in their attack. It's I should say their defence is moving up fast, and the outside centres in particular, both Jeff Ackland and Marcus Paweza, are moving very, very quickly indeed. It's a 5-metre scrum. Another one out. This ball's coming now. Glenora's way. They delay it. Sends it on to Alan Williams. He's juggled with it. They've lost control. Play on, says the referee. The ball's gone Manawatu's way. They give it away easily, Glenora. That's not good tactics. They don't look a winning combination at the moment. And it's Kosini Kepu running hard into Paweza. The hooker plays the ball back to Paul Gordon. Cooper takes it out now to Dominic Clark. He's knocked over by one low. And that would be, let's have a look, that would be the wing three-quarter coming in there. And that's Ken Johnson. I don't know what he's doing as a forward at the moment, as in goes the Glenora pack, and they knock over the Manawatu players pretty well indeed, and that was Glenn Townsend hit the deck as Kosini Kemper. They're in a bunch, Manawatu too. They're not liking the hard, tough driving tactics as it comes from the play the ball back to John Ackland, and Ackland has kicked too strong over the sideline. This ball goes under pressure, Manawatu. Panic stations too. They had the overlap on the blind, which was the grandstand side, and they were getting hit and hit hard. Probably Glenora are getting a bit embarrassed at the moment. They won 3 scrums in a row, is that right? 2 all the scrums at the moment. Yeah, the first 2 went to Manawatu, and after that it's been Glenora. But this is a scrum that's Manawatu's way, so scrummaging at the moment is 50-50, a 3-2, and it's Manawatu in front in scrums, and Cooper will play the ball back to Gary Prome. Prome turns it back to his captain, Cooper again. On it goes now to Jeff Ackland, playing centre today, but he's amongst the forwards, and Ackland is caught then by Lovell and Paweza. They play the ball. Ackland then taps it ahead. Well, he held an tackle by Lovell. Again, he quickly plays the ball back to fullback Tavi. Out it goes now to Cooper. Cooper sends it on to Randall Patel. Patel has taken low in the ground by Jake Farfu, but they're about 10 outside the 22. Out of danger, Manawatu now, as John Ackland works hard to bulldoze his way through the Glenora forward pack, but he's held in by a loose forward, and it was Ronnie Bell. They played the ball, Manawatu. It's all the lines at the moment with possession. Oh, there's almost a forward pass, and it must be between a panic-stricken Townsend and Dominic Clark, really. I say panic because he tossed the ball in advance of Dominic Clark, and ahead of him. Why he wanted to get rid of it, I don't know. He's given a chance here for Dennis Williams to have a shot at goal. It's right out, almost out in centre field, and 11 metres past the 22. Well, with me at the moment is Alan McLaughlin. Alan, say a few words. What do you think of this opening first 10?
Well, I think it's a case of the bruising play of Glenora is at the moment, and Mount Albert certainly look ruffled in the last few minutes. They don't like this hard go, and Dennis Williams having a shot from centre field. I thought he might have taken the shot earlier on, but looking for the 5-pointer to get back on level. But at the moment, I'd say Glenora are really taking the game back to Mount Albert after that initial try early on.
And Dennis Williams about 33, I suppose, 33 metres out. There in centre field, he's got the breeze behind him, so distance is no problem. Here he kicks well. Look at that thing go. Right down the centre. 5-2 now. They lead Mount Albert. That was a giveaway, what I saw, one of those happenings that doesn't really occur amongst good players when you toss forward passes like that. The kick-off trapped nicely then by Brian Conning, the captain for Glenora. And he runs into the cover defence tackle, held in by Townsend. They play the ball. Cliff Pittman sends it on to Farfu. Farfu standing up. Can't unload the pass. John Ackland, the tackler. He'll play the ball now. Back it comes to Paul Felix, the winger who's gone in. Racked almost his dummy half, and he has done that. Runs a bit. Only about 5 metres short of the halfway now, Glenora, with the fourth play the ball on. And it's a standoff. Bindi Hokamai, who kicks deep, waiting for it. Mark Tarvey kicks straight down, really, the arms of Mark Tarvey. And Tarvey props nicely, tries to beat 1 and 2. Beats both the 2 players he sees. Beats the 3rd player. Back comes Bindi Hokamai to have his 4th attempt, I think, at trying to get him, and finally knocks him over. Tarvey looks at him, and he was the best of first player award winner the other night in Auckland. As it's back now to Shane Cooper. Cooper sends it on to Townsend on the terrace side. Ducks and weaves the stand-up. Caught in the end, however, by Dane O'Hara, but they make ground Van Albert. They look better on finish. They lead 5-2. Cooper firing it wide out this time to Paul Gordon. He's got players on his right too. Gets it out to the winger, Warren Collicutt. He's got Felix to beat. In goes Felix, takes him to the ground. Lost control of ball. Pittman will dive on it. Fires it back to Brian Conning to Glenora. He starts to run 12 metres outside the 22. Held, however, in his own half. Dominic Clark, the tackler. Quickly they play it. It's back now to Ronnie Bell. Sends out to Jake Farfur. Schomkel takes it further on to Williams. Williams gets just knocked over and no more by Townsend. Jeff Ackland comes to his light too. 10 metres inside their own half. Back to Schomkel. On it goes to Farfur. Stands up, held in a tackle, however, goes to the ground. And it will be Jeff Ackland again, the cover defence tackler. 5-2, 8 metres inside their own half. It's back now to Bindi Hokamai. Sends on to Dennis Lovell. Lovell is caught on that far side, almost up to the halfway line with Williams now. Dennis Williams at dummy half. Gets out Brian Conning. Hokamai, the stand-up, tries to get through the gaps. Caught by Paul Gordon. Second row and inside centre, Jeff Ackland on the halfway line. Last play the ball. Glenora struggling a bit at the moment to get through the man over defence. Pittman sends it out to Brian Conning. Ducks his head down. Knocked hard into the ground by Shane Cooper and Jeff Ackland. So about 12 minutes, 13 minutes gone. The shock try, you might say, the slow start by Glenora cost them an easy 5-pointer when almost Prome was through from dummy half. Patel did as well. And he made it a very simple try indeed, and it one which should never have come. So the quick start by Mount Albert paid handsome dividends. They won a scrum. Tarvey, the fullback, in alongside Cooper this time. Fires the ball on the ground. Picked up by Warren Collicutt. He's lost it. Knock on, says the referee. He retained possession again after the ball bounced on the rock-hard ground here, back into his arms. Collicutt, the former international fullback, playing on the wing. Right wing for Mount Albert. Cooper puts it in, they kick it straight. Ooh, there's a lot of battling for possession here in the front rows, which are high at the moment. Dominic Clark, open prop for Mount Albert. Farfur, the one for Glenora. And everything, of course, depends on possession. Down they go. They fire it in. Glenora go high. Pittman can't hold it. And it'll be a collapsed scrum, says the referee. Somebody's kicking out. Let's have a look. He's being penalised. Farfur calling out then for driving his feet into the chest then of Shane Cooper, getting a warning from referee Kevin Steele. Unnecessary from Farfur, who's probably a bit wound up at the moment. John Ackland kicks into the breeze, doesn't gain much more than about 13 metres, and that's how far they are inside Glenora's territory. Kosini Kepu, the tap kicker. Ackland takes it on his left. They move away from the grandstand side. Cooper's there, cuts out a man, sends it on to Dominic Clark. He's hit hard and low by a good tackle from Jake Farfur. Plays the ball, 10 outside the 22. John Ackland, they work back the grandstand side, which is the blind. Cooper on a Gordon, on of Gary Prome. Comes in field, beats off Dennis Lover, gets away to Warren Collicutt. He's inside the 22. He's held, however, by the cover defence tackle of halfback Brian Conning. Close to the grandstand side, they'll shoot it terrace way. Out it comes out of Gary Prome. Cooper takes it on to John Ackland. Ackland props, goes straight ahead instead. And he's knocked over then by Ronnie Bell. Quickly, Kepu from dummy half. He's through the gap nearly. Somebody gets out of Cooper. Gets it away to Cooper. Very nearly. The gaps are on at the moment. Glenora are slow around the play the ball areas. It comes back to John Ackland. Wide out to Gary Prome. Accelerates. Turns it back to Collicutt. He's lost ball and the knock on, says the referee. My word, had Dennis Lovell been quick enough. He's a prop forward. The bounce was unkind for him. His reflex is a bit slow too. And had he been just quick enough, well, he could have gone through and started a bit of a run, but he certainly would have made the far end of the field. He had about 80 metres to go. As incorrect packaging this time, scrummaging by Kosini Kepu. They've been penalised for it, so it's a very, very tense affair going on in the front rows at the moment. And a penalty to Glenora with Dennis Williams kicking down the left touch. Kicks toward us here, bang, just misses us. Yes, I'm just looking at Alan McLaughlin's remarks. Third time Warren Collicutt has dropped the board. Yes, he's a bit out of match play today, Alan. Tap to be taken just outside Glenora's 22 by Cliff Pittman. Comes back to halfback Conning, gets away now to Hokamai, to Dennis Williams, but there's no gaps on for Williams. They've really fanned out quickly, the man over backs and forwards. Their cover defence is excellent at the moment. No mistakes by the side. It's back now to Shomkel, sends it on to Ronnie Bell. Bell to O'Hara. He's juggled the ball. Knock on, says the referee. Plays the advantage. Shomkel has it. He'll drag them back for the knock on by O'Hara, who came and tried to veer in slightly from an impossible situation, surrounded by yellow jerseys. Ball juggled in O'Hara's hands. He knocked it forward, but Shomkel, realising he had to get possession to force the scrum, did that. So back they come to Glenora's 10-metre mark in centre field. So it's a 4-3/4 stance. Centre 3/4 on either side of the scrum. Mount Albert winner. They work the terror side. Townsend sends it on this time to fullback Tavi. I should say Powesi in the back line, and he's held by a tackle in by Ken Johnson. They play the ball now. It's back to Ackland. John Ackland, Shane Cooper, Gary Prome. Sweeps around Dennis Williams. Caught by Vindy Hokemeyer. Turns the in pass, taken by Collicote this time, but he's dropped easily by Dennis Williams, who was following Prome all the way. They play it now, 38 metres away from the try line. This is Mount Albert attacking as Paul Gordon beats 1 and 2. Goes the blind, flicks it out to Gary Prome. He's knocked it on. So Mount Albert a bit toey too at the moment. On the deck, getting to his feet, Paul Gordon. Is he all right? On comes the St John ambulance. He got hit hard then. He just had the, what they call the stuffing knocked out of him. And Glenora are not quite going to that Mount Albert would lose it. Paul Gordon all right. St John ambulance man walks off the field now. Gordon drag comes off the back of the scrum. Another 1-2. They're winning it 2-1 now. This is Mount Albert as Paul Gordon falls to the ground there. He looked a bit exhausted. Actually, he didn't realise he was going to get the ball that quick. Collicote in a dummy half. Back to Shane Cooper. Cooper delays, sends it on to Gary Prome. Held that pass slightly and tried to fool the defence, as he does well in the centres, but caught by Dennis Lovell. That's Prome playing the ball now back to Paul Gordon. He's okay. Cooper takes it out now to his standoff. Townsend. Townsend sends away to the fullback Tavi in the back line. Back to Townsend, who followed the movement well. Caught by Dane O'Hara on the 22. Glenora in slight bother at the moment. It's centre field. It's Randall Patel. Gets it away to John Ackland. Ackland moves on the grandstand side to Shane Cooper. He's knocked over hard to and correct by Cliff Pittman. The man over captain to play the ball. They're in a bunch behind him. Prome is the first man to take the pass. Tries a bit of a sweeping run again. They hit him hard. 2 Glenora players. They've got to watch the speed of Gary Prome, the dangerous man on the man Albert side. He's caught. Plays the ball back to his winger, Warren Collicote. There's the bomb kick by John Ackland. It'll be too deep over the side, just taken over the dead ball line by Alan Williams, but it was a shade too deep then. He tried to gauge it, thinking the wind would whip it back a bit. He had enough height too, but just kicked a little bit too powerfully. Vindy Hokemeyer will drop out under the sticks for Glenora. A deep, long one, waiting for it. Mark Tarvey on the halfway line, takes it, starts to run, heading towards centre field and slightly terrace side. Caught low by Brian Conning. Good ankle tackle by the Glenora captain. Collicote, linked with his fullback, will go to dummy half. Takes it away now to John Ackland to Townsend. They work the terror side still. He veers straight in field. A danger man, Townsend, beats 1, beats 2. Links it away to Ackland. He's lost control of ball, Jeff Ackland. And the fullback, Alan Williams, takes it instead. They play at Glenora. A chance. Townsend, a danger man at the moment. The little fella at standoff as Dennis Lovell gets hit hard and correct by Randall Patel. The blindside prop for Mount Albert. As Lovell has played the ball to Pittman, to Conning. Conning gets away now to Shomkel, I think, on that far side. He's caught, knocked to the ground. They play the ball. Conning again. Works away to Jake Farfua. In pass to Conning. Offside Mount Albert. Up inside the 5 metres. A relieving penalty kick for Glenora, who with the breeze behind them in the first quarter up trail 5-2 and struggle. A crowd of nearer 10 now, I'd say. 10,000. Divided in opinion between Glenora and Mount Albert as to who will win the grand final for 1981. The tap taken by Pittman. Out it comes now to Shomkel. Further it goes out to Brian Conning. Dennis Williams caught low by Townsend. A great game from the standoff. And high went Prome. They play the ball now. Back to Shomkel again. Not Shomkel, I should say, to Vindy Hokemeyer. Now Shomkel takes the pass, knocked over by Dominic Clark. 10 metres in Mount Albert territory. Brian Conning, the blind side with a pass to Powesa. What a quiet game Powesa has had today. And in go the Mount Albert forwards. Dominic Clark is there, and down goes Powesa, Collicote as well. They play the ball now. It's back to Paul Felix. Conning and takes it back to Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer to Shomkel. Back it goes to Pittman. Pittman's held in a tackle. Loses the possession with that tackle from John Ackland. Kosini Keppel fires it out for Mount Albert's halfback Cooper to Townsend. Starts to run. The prop forward, Dennis Lovell, picks him up. Looked at him, chased him, and let the standoff go and caught him. Not bad for a prop forward as they play the ball to Powesi. This is Mount Albert. Out it goes to Paul Gordon. Back to the grandstand side. Kepler says no. Straight ahead. But he fires the ball back this time to Patel. They lose ground, Mount Albert, on the 10-metre mark in their territory. But they have called a tune better than Glenora, and they have had far more possession as it's back to Gary Prome. Accelerates, hit hard, low by Lovell and high by Poesa, and they have played the ball. That's Prome has played it now. It's back to Cooper. Long, wide pass to Jeff Ackland. Terrace side, turns in field to Cooper. Back to Ackland again. Gets the pass away to Townsend. Great football, man Albert. Fires it on to John Ackland. Accelerates towards the 22. Caught by O'Hara. Slung on his back by O'Hara. They're fired up now in centre field. They can go left and right. Kepu goes straight ahead. Spin it, Kepu, but he won't. He's caught. And he should have spun it. The last play the ball was on, and Kepu a hooker in a dummy half. Scrums in the first quarter, Mount Albert 6, Glenora 2. Penalties in the first quarter, Glenora 4, Mount Albert 1. So really it's thanks to penalties, really, that Glenora are getting out of this problem of scrummaging. They hook it to Glenora. Brian Conning from 10 metres outside. His sticks then. He's spun round the scrum. Caught by Gary Prome. He'll play the ball back to loose forward Ronnie Bell. Works it on the blind to Vindy Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer gets almost through the gap. Spins it nicely this time out to Ken Johnson. Johnson's caught about 12 outside the 22. Waiting for it now is Ronnie Bell. Flicks it out to Jake Farfu. Back it goes now to Ken Johnson. Ronnie Bell. Johnson starts to accelerate. Still goes. Gets inside the territory of Mount Albert. Caught by Gary Prome. Better Glenora. You look sweeter now. Tap ahead by Ken Johnson. Goes straight and hard, but the Mount Albert defence is fanned across the paddock. And he's taken into the tackle by John Ackland. Conning a dummy half. It comes out now to Shomko. Poezak, what a quiet game he's had. Still no fire in the big prop. And knocked over with ease by halfback Shane Cooper. Poezak has played the ball now to Shomko. Spins around in a circle. Decides he'll go straight from dummy half ahead and caught by a couple of players from Mount Albert then. That was Paul Gordon and Dominic Clark. Scrum to go down about 5 outside Mount Albert's 22. 17 minutes to go before half-time. Still 5-2. That shock try really has rocked Mount Albert. They've won rocked Glenora. They've won a scrum, and that's Glenora. An acceleration from Conning, caught by Cooper. Let go. Try to spin it inside to Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer now is dummy half. Dennis Williams takes it on to the loose forward, and that is Ronnie Bell, and Bell is caught just inside the 22, 18 from the try line. Glenora close now. O'Hara, a knock-on then, and they give it away again. And that's Glenora. A knock-on occurred by Dennis Lovell. So they are showing that they're lacking in match play, and it should be Mount Albert really who are having their second game in 4 weeks. Maybe the second half might be a bit different. Cooper to put it in. A fast strike right back Glenora's way too. Against the head, you might say. Poeta off the back of the scrum. They actually telegraphed the move then. The second row hung off like a loose forward, but he was too easily read. They play the ball now. It's back to Pittman. Out it goes to Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer sends it on to Ken Johnson. He's veered away from the terrace wing to link up outside his standoff, but they've read him well too. He'll play the ball. Back to it goes to Dennis Williams. Dennis Lovell takes it well this time. Knocked over low then by Randall Patel. 8 metres short of the try line. Close to the sticks too. Glenora a chance. Conning, they work the terrace side. Dennis Williams cuts out a man. Shomko veers in, tries to get it away. He's held. About 3 tackles to go on Glenora. They've got to veer away and drag out the defence wide. Pittman now. Out it goes to Dennis Williams. Cuts out a man. Sends it wide out to Johnson. Lost the ball. A big run from Townsend. No. The referee said Mount Albert up inside the 5 metres. Good football. Good reading by referee Kevin Steele, and a big crowd on the terraces don't like that one. However, one would say, Alan, that Glenora just not clicking today.
No, their forwards aren't moving as well as I've seen them in previous games, Des. Mount Albert's defence is very, very tight at the moment, and Mount Albert in particular looking by far the more cohesive side when it comes to attack, and they should have had a certain 2 tries, the one you mentioned earlier from Prome, and also when Ackland made the break. He had 2 men on the inside and went the outside and got tackled, but Mount Albert looking the more cohesive unit at the moment, but Glenora starting to come back in the game. They've won the last 3 scrums in a row, and of course if Dennis Williams can get this makes it 5-4, and we've got about 12 minutes to go before half-time.
So maybe the nerves that are associated with grand finalists, and everyone gets them, even the test players get wound up, and this is the one they all seem to like to play in. Gets to them. The big crowd here haven't seen too much fireworks. It's been very, very correct football, and Ackland, I should say, Dennis Williams just outside the 22s, a wrong side too. Glenora supporters for a instep kicker. Kicks right across the goal mouth, or I should say the uprights really. It was his wrong side. He hasn't been kicking over well. His average is about 40 to 50%, so he's now 1 out of 2. And Mark Tarvey waiting for the other ball to come off the paddock now. So still it's 5-2. They lead. You drop out on the 22, a left footer by Tavi. He drops. Oh, have a look at this. He's over the sideline on the full, and it'll be a straight out in front shot for Dennis Williams. Now, that is very, very crazy tactics to give it to Mark Tavi, who is not recognised as an expert drop kick artist. And, well, I wonder, really, the stupidity, really, of doing things like that now, giving it away. An easy shot at goal for Dennis Williams. And this time I'll write it down. The last time I didn't bother, but now I will. And he has the breeze behind him, and he's in centre field, so he can get his right instep kicking. And Glenora have won the last 3 scrums and last 3 penalties. Yes, Alan, I agree. That's made a big difference, isn't it? It's brought them right inside the 22. But they did start so slow in a grand final. I don't know why, what happened there. They should have been wound up like clocks too, and it was man but they got the tune. And when you can score a try in the first 10 minutes in a final like this, it's a tremendous lift for the side, and it really shakes the confidence as Dennis Williams really glides that one over. 5-4 now. Mount Albert lead. And they have not had a chance to score a try, Glenora. Mount Albert have. They've had 3, got 1. Townsend having a fine game today to kick off. He places the ball for Prome, who tops it and works the kick toward the terrace side, and Vinnie Hokemeyer takes it, taken in a tackle by Jeff Ackland, about 7 inside their half. That's Glenora will play the ball back to Dennis Williams. Williams out to Dane O'Hara. O'Hara sends it onto the winger Ken Johnson, and Johnson is held by Randa Patel. Now in centre field, still Glenora's half by 8 metres as Cliff Pittman takes it out to far fur. On it goes now to Shomko, tries to accelerate too, looks for support inside but running away from his support, taken to the ground by Marcus Poesi. They'll play the ball, still struggling to get to halfway as Felix puts his head down and runs hard to dummy half, taken in a tackle by Kosini Kepu. Now they're on the halfway line as Lovell sends it out to Brian Conning, his halfback. Poesa on the burst end, caught low, 2 Mount Albert jerseys all round Poesa, and obviously they've had the message from coach Mike McLennan, stay with the big Maoris. They play the ball as Pittman starts to accelerate, going to kick left foot, but he's caught 6 tackle on, and maybe someone said don't kick it, Cliff Pittman, and that's what probably made him change his mind as he sighted the grandstand touch then. I thought he should have kicked it because he could have driven them well back inside their own territory. That's Mount Albert. But instead it's a scrum, and oh, there was a quick fire in. It came out the other side. The referees let it go. Mount Albert scored out of this one, and Glenn Townsend still veering, still running, and trying to drag in Collicote, using the decoy really as Collicote, and finally knocked over by Alan Williams, the fullback. They play the ball now. It's out to Shane Cooper. Randa Patel works the blind. They've worked the side a fair bit of the park. Kepu takes the pass, goes straight ahead, the hooker, and Williams is again have to call on to knock him over. That's the Glenora fullback. 15 from the try line. Mount Albert, come on, spin it wide. It's out to Cooper. They work the terrace side, but instead Paul Gordon holds things up now, sends the ball on the ground. It'll be picked up by Dominic Clark. They're in support. Cliff Pittman has him in a low tackle, and he's held as Poesa almost tried to knock his head over and missed him by a proverbial mile, and that was Dominic Clark. Gets up to play the ball to Gary Prome at dummy half. Runs straight from that position. Tries to slip the in pass, but as somebody bowls over another player, and that was Gordon getting knocked over by Pittman. Prome has the ball. He's played it now to Randa Patel. Away goes Shane Cooper. Cooper delays, turns it back into Patel again. Patel runs wide and strong. Their forwards are better. They call the tune, Mount Albert. Last play the ball on. Glenora's got to hang on. Kepu out to Paul Gordon. Across the goal mouth goes the ball. Cooper decides you one back infield. Sends away to Gordon again. He accelerates. They try to link with Prome. He's got it. Sends out to Patel. Patel's close to the line. He's bulldozing. He's over the sideline. Too short. 2 metres short of the try line, but they worked well. They're not really using the full width of the paddock now. They're going virtually from grandstand to centre field and back again to the sideline, and that's part of their tactics at the moment, not to use this full width of the field. They're partially fooling Glenora, but their forwards are mobile. They're definitely calling the tune here. Down goes an important scrum. Glenora's halfback Conning to put it in. They were lucky to get away with the last one, and that was Mount Albert, but away goes Conning from dummy half, I should say halfback, runs wide, caught, knocked to the ground. We'll play the ball now to Ronnie Bell. Bell out then to Felix, the winger, supports, held in, they're up to the 22. The tackler is Gary Prome. In goes Conning from dummy half, gets away to Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer sends it back to Bell, to Hokemeyer again. He delays, they don't know which way to go, Glenora. You don't look too well now with the pull. They're still hanging on the 22 in their own territory. 10 minutes to go before half-time. Back to Brian Cunnington to play the ball. Lovell starts a run. Can't link with support there. The tackling's too strong. John Ackland, the man that dropped him and put him to the ground, as Conning exits dummy half. Sends out to Dane O'Hara. He tries to accelerate through the impossible position and veers back in field, held by the second row, Ackland again. 10 outside the 22 now. They spin it wide. Level now. He'll go straight ahead. Bulldozers. Turns it back to Conning. Works the blind. Terrasai gets away to Dana O'Hara. He's caught with a good smother tackle. And that's the 6-1 on Glenora. So they worked hard from about 5 metres outside their try line to about 8 inside or 7 inside their own half. That's how tight Mount Albert's defence is. More to Terrace side now. 5-4 lead. The Lions over the Bears. They win a scrum, Mount Albert the Lions. It's out now to Townsend. Calls fullback Tarvey in. Via Sweetly comes a bit too close to the scrum and picked up very nicely indeed by loose forward Ronnie Bell. It's on in the front row at the moment. Dennis Lovell shapes up there to Dominic Clark. A knock on to Townsend. And the crowd are looking at almost like a likely fight between Dennis Lovell and Dominic Clark and Randall Patel, but he was the lone Glenora player was Lovell. There were 3 Mount Albert players supporting Dominic Clark. Nothing happened. The referee let play go on. Townsend knocked the ball on, so we'll have a scrum 8 metres inside Glenora territory. Front rows go down. Hook to Glenora. Work the blind. The referee unhappy. Putting the ball underneath his hooker's feet, and the cheer girls behind the uprights on the number 2 ground. Naturally, the Mount Albert cheerleaders there give a roar of approval. Why, I don't know, Alan. Is that one of the rare penalties they've had, is it? It is too, yes. It's the first penalty in the second quarter. There's the kick by John Ackland. Torpedoes aimed for finding distance. The ball hit up here in the press box, hit the glass. Nothing shattered, thank goodness. Tap to be taken by Kosini Kepu. Still 12 outside the 22. Cooper runs wide, flicks it back to Ackland. Everything telegraphed. Clark has the ball. Held, however, by Ronnie Bell. Takes 3 Glenora players to bring him to the ground. They're on the 22, Mount Albert. Spin it wide. Kepu, Cooper. On it goes to John Ackland. They look better to me, Mount Albert. The score's only 5-4, but they look the stronger of the 2 sides. It's back to Shane Cooper from the play the ball. Now it goes to Gary Pro. Wide out to Warren Connicut. He's down the sideline, hit and not knocked over the grandstand sideline, but dragged to the ground then by Dennis Lovell and also the wing 3-quarter Paul Felix. Gets up to play at 10 short of the line. They spin it away from that sideline. Now it's out to Shane Cooper. Townsend, Jeff Ackland, wide out to Poesi. Knocked it on. Picked up instead by the loose forward Ronnie Bell for Glenora, about 3 metres outside the field of play, just away from that try line. He's played it back to Brian Conning. Dana O'Hara tries to accelerate. They knock him to the ground. Correct and well too. So the international winger playing centre today for Glenora is hit hard. He plays the ball back to Conning. Sends it out this time to Vinnie Hokemeyer. Hokemeyer, the stand-off, has to take Randall Patel's hard and low tackle. But Albert still dictate the trend of play as Conning from dummy half starts a little bit of a jazz run, but caught very quickly indeed after a couple of metres by Dominic Clark. 7 to go before half-time. Nothing in the game. There goes big Jake Farfur past the 22. Held in the end by Paul Gordon and Jeff Ackland. Moving in away from the centres, Ackland at the moment, playing almost like second rows. It's back now to Schomko. Schomko out to Bindi Hokemeyer. Delays, they're not linking at all well. And that's Glenora I'm talking about because they can't seem to move that ball with a great deal of speed. The defence is too quick, and the Mount Albert players as a whole, second row, loose forward, and outside centres are all doing correct work here and causing a great deal of frustration to the Glenora side. Let's have a look at those scrums, Ellen. What are they at the moment? 6 to Glenora, and what's Mount Albert? 2. 6 to 2 in the second quarter. They've won another scrum, and that's Glenora, so they've certainly had a 3-1 second quarter advantage, but not doing very much with it. A penalty is all their results as they played the ball. That was Brian Conning has played the ball, and Vinnie Hokemeyer says, let's kick it deep, and that's what he's done, and the ball is racing for the sideline, and they're back on the 22. What a tremendous kick from 122 to the next, and the breeze helped that ball fly for Vinnie Hokemeyer. So they've gained something like 55 metres, and now they're hard on attack. That's Glenora with the sun shining at the park and the ground rock hard. So one burst of enjoyment for Mount Albert supporters in the 5th minute, and that's as far as they've got with Randall Patel's try. Penalty against, this time, Shane Cooper, the Mount Albert halfback. A chance again for Glenora to get nearer the try line and start having to work that attack, which we hope is going to get better in the second half. It's a limited one at the moment, one that only goes 2 or 3 players, and then they seem to lose touch with each other, whereas Mount Albert do work so well. The kick's been taken, the tap now by Ronnie Bell, a loose forward. It comes out to Pittman to Ronnie Bell, a Schomkel, and what's happened? Kawaiza drops the ball, and they give it away, Glenora. I think you're going to give this game away too. Kawaiza playing a very, very poor game today. The star last week is the complete reverse today. And so it's Mount Albert's Kosini Kepu. Gets the ball and intercepted by Vinnie Hokemeyer. Turns the ball on this time to Dennis Williams. He's going to be there. Well, straight. I'm just ready to rubbish. I shouldn't be doing that, Alan. To rubbish Glenora for Poeza dropping that ball and intercept by Bindi Hokomau. And like a flash, the former international Dennis Williams linked with him and took a difficult pass quite superbly to score, and they have hit the lead. Well, what do you think, Alan?
Well, I think a lot of credit to the try must go to Williams, because when he took the pass from Hokumai, instead of going back towards the posts, he cut back away from the defence, and it just gave him that extra metre or so to get away, and he dived a metre or so from the line, and that got him there for the try. But how unlucky can Mount Albert be? Because, as you say, Oasa having a poor game for Glenora at the moment. He's looked as if he's in a sleep, as if he's not with it today, and he dropped that ball. It was a straightforward pass right in the midriff. He should have taken it. Anybody could have taken it, put it down, then Mount Albert broke away. I thought they could have come wider. They were close to the touchline, but they had the room there because there was no one in front. But they elected to go for a couple of tackles and were put down, and then that break and the pass going, and away they went, and Mount Albert scoring against the run of play, certainly, Glenora.
Well, Dennis Williams trying to convert his own tries on the right side too for his kick, and it's about 12 away from the grandstand upright. He's just past the 22. We're right behind it. Let's have a look how good it is. It's there! Wham! No! It hits the upright and bounces. By gee, that wind must be strong up high there, because it was going straight to centre and caught the wind and hit the grandstand upright. So it's a lead now of 7-5. And it's Dennis Williams, 7 points for Glenora. And about 37 minutes gone. We've got about 3 to go before half-time. So they have a lead, at least, Glenora. But a lucky one, you might say. They're not playing good at the moment. There's the kick now. Top one taken by Brian Conning. Sends away to Alan Williams. Williams is caught on the halfway by Glenn Townsend. He'll play the ball. The Glenora fullback. Back to Conning again. Poeza takes this one. Starts a bit of fire, but Ackland goes low. And down goes the big second row forward as he's played the ball to Bindi Hokumai. Starts a bit of a run. Links with Dame O'Hara. O'Hara's caught by Patel and Ackland. Jeff Ackland. They come in quick on the Kiwi centre three-quarters. He's played the ball back to Poeza to Conning. Out it goes to Dennis Williams. Juggles with it a bit. Turns it back on the blind side to Cliff Pittman, the terrace side. A lob pass taken on by Ken Johnson. Down the sideline he goes. Feet out. And over the sideline around just about on the halfway mark. About 2 minutes to go before half-time. And this breeze is strong, really, and it'll be a great asset for Mount Albert. But when the half-time scrum is given to me from Alan McLaughlin, it'll give you some idea how changed it has been. 6-2. Glenora have dictated trend in the second quarter, and that possession has given them the opportunity to lead by 7-5. The scrum has been won by Mount Albert, however, and their winger comes through very, very quickly indeed, and that's Tuffy Lusitini, who's never had the ball in this game till then. They play the ball. Townsend out to Jeff Ackland. Ackland sights the gap. Can he link? He couldn't get the ball away to his fullback, Mark Tarvey. Taken on a tackle by Dennis Williams, the man that scored all of Glenora's points. There goes John Ackland up centre field now. Links now with Dominic Clark. Clark on the 22. Caught, however, gets the ball away to Poezi, who's knocked it on. Goes straight to the arms of Alan Williams. So mistakes Mount Albert, and Williams clears the 22. Caught by Kosini Kepu. So the Lions, too, a little bit of doubt about their match players. It comes back to Pittman, who says, I'll play the game in another half, and he kicks deep and correct. And away goes Tuffy Lusitini, who hasn't seen the ball, picked it up a couple of minutes ago, and now he's got it again. He'll start a run, takes on Ken Johnson, caught by Johnson, too, gets away to Mark Tarvey. He beats one, doesn't quite beat Kevin Shomko, gets his ankles clicked, and he's on the ground inside their own half. Half-time a minute away. They lead Glenora by 7-5. Shane Cooper out to Paul Gordon. Cuts out a man, accelerates, gets through the gap. Still going Paul Gordon inside the half. Felix has him. The half-time siren sounded. In goes Dennis Williams. Picks the ball up. Sends it on to Dana Hara. Starts to run, but he can't get away from Kepu. Oh, there could have been fire then. And a hooker chasing a former international star, like, I should say, still a star, Dana Hara. And that Kepu tackle was a good one indeed, and he just could get outside the arms of Kepu, Dana Hara. So half-time upon us. Let's have a look at the...
And now we return you to Carlo Park and Des White.
Thank you. The kick-off taken. Remember, Glenora facing the breeze now. It's Mount Albert with the ball. Mark Tarvey's taken to the ground on a tackle just outside the 22. Glenora leads 7-5, and this is the important last 40 minutes of this grand final. It's Kosini Kepu now, held on a tackle by Jake Farfua. Back comes Paul Gordon. Well, I should say he fires it out to Shane Cooper. Cooper sends it out this time to Prome. Works the line again. They've done often. Picked up by Jake Cooper and dumped to the ground is Gary Prome. And over the top went Pittman, and the Kiwi winger plays the ball for Mount Albert to Paul Gordon. Gordon goes up the grandstand side, gets the way to his hooker, Kosini Kepu, who's caught by Pat Poeza. Poeza goes in, and about has a bit of a struggle to bring him to the ground, and finally does, just inside Mount Albert's half. He'll play the ball back to Gary Prome. Prome sends on to John Ackland. Everyone's well offside there, and they're being penalised for it by referee Kevin Steele, which I'm not sure of there, Alan, because he was in advance of John Ackland when he went for the touch finder, but he had nothing to do with the play.
Yeah, I think it was a strange decision, Des. I agree. He was well away from the play, and the touch finder, as you said, when Ackland kicked the ball, so a strange decision.
The only thing I could put it down to is that he was inside the 5 metres and virtually offside from the play. The ball, as the ball gets toward us here, that's Richard Beck from the Sunday News, the reporter there, leaps back, and Brian Doty from the Star. However, here goes the tap now, taken by Dennis Lovell, hit hard too by Randa Patel and Dominic Clark. A very hard and tough last 40 minutes now for these two teams as they fight desperately to win this game. Cliff Pittman sends it out from dummy half to Brian Conning. Conning out to Bindi Hokamai, who goes straight ahead, and a player is hurt on the ground at the moment. That's Kepu, the hooker from Mount Albert. He's hurt his shoulder. He gets slow to his feet. That player's it's back now to Brian Conning. Out it goes to Ronnie Bell. Bell it to Dennis Williams. He sees everyone almost up offside on the open. Sends away to Dennis Lovell. Lovell sends it on to Dennis Williams again, who's knocked it on, and the outside support centre of Mount Albert are flying up, and they're causing the concern for Glenora, who are having to switch it back and veer away. They can't play the open-styled game they'd like to because, as I say, Poesi and Jeff Ackland are virtually flying up. There's the ball put in, taken out by Shane Cooper, sends it on to Townsend, delays, sends it on this time to Jeff Ackland. Ackland spins the ball nicely out to Townsend, who's supported him all the way. He won't sprint. Townsend, it's out to Mark Darby, who's sprinting now. Beyond that terrace side, the fullback goes, he's lost contact, knocked over about 5 outside the 22 by Bindi Hokamai. They play the ball, Warren Collicoat, man over attack inside Glenora's half. It's out now to John Ackland. Dominic Clark held in a tackle and brought to the ground then by Kevin Schomkel. They play the ball, Paul Gordon, a dummy half. Cooper fires it back infield to John Ackland, goes straight ahead. Ackland caught high then by Poesa. Plays the ball back to Gary Prome. Prome from centre field, runs ahead. Poesa's after him. The ball flipped out to John Ackland. Ackland overhand pass to Paul Gordon, knock on. And we'll have a scrum just inside Glenora's 22. Once again, Mount Albert are the players that called the tune then and looked pretty good. So we saw a try coming to them in the first 5 minutes of the game. Are they going to repeat it? And being spoken to at the moment is Bindi Hokamai. I don't know what's happened out there, the standoff for Glenora, but he's getting a pretty severe lecture from Kevin Steele. No penalty has been given. A scrum in centre field on the 22 for a three-quarter stance. And it's a Mount Albert hook. Cooper goes round the base of scrum, and he tosses it back this time to Gary Prome. Prome, they work the terrace side. Flicks it past to Poesi, who comes back into the forward play, tries to link to, get the ball out to Jeff Ackland. Couldn't, held in a tackle by Pittman. Plays the ball still about where the scrum was to Kosini Kepa. Out it goes to Cooper. Dominic Clark turns it back away from the terrace side to Gary Prome. Caught, however, a vital part of the game for Mount Albert. A try here, and they could win this grand final. Penalty against, this time, Dennis Lovell for dragging the ball out. A chance to draw level in this game at 7-all for Warren Collicoat. Penalty against Dennis Lovell. And on the 22, Shane Cooper calls up Warren Collicoat. About 5.5 minutes gone in this, the third quarter. And I'm beginning to write it down too because it's on the side of the field which would suit Collicoat really. Terrace side on the 22, Breeze behind him, a good kicker. He's not an instep, yes he is an instep kicker, sorry, so it's on the wrong side of the field. This crowd, about 10,000 to watch this game today, with the cheerleaders haven't shifted. As a matter of fact, they should really have changed ends. The Mount Albert cheerleaders, they're on the number 2 end of the uprights. They should be going down to where the Mount Albert team will score its points, and that's the scoreboard end for the second half. Collicoat kicks now, correctly. 7-all, the grand final, locked at 7-all. So not bad at all. A tap to be taken for Dennis Williams. He kicks deep straight away. Trapped by Marcus Poesi. The ball skies back to Tarvey. Tarvey takes the ball now. He's got Ronnie Bell to beat. Beaten him all right. In goes Schomkel. Takes him to the ground. Van Abbott fullback fires over the top. Will play the ball to John Ackland. Just outside their 22. Gordon takes it further out to Cooper. Cooper sends it on to Glenn Townsend, who goes to the ground as Poesi was almost collided with Townsend there. He plays the ball back to Kepler. He must be okay, that hooker who was hurt a few moments ago. He's taken in a tackle by Schomkel. So it couldn't be closer. It's 7-all at the moment. 35 minutes to go as Prome races ahead from dummy half. Schomkel takes him to the ground, and also Jake Farfur. The loose forward plays the ball back to John Ackland. Shane Cooper turns the ball back into Paul Gordon. On the halfway line, he takes it away to Shane Cooper. Cooper fires it out to Jeff Ackland, the terror side. And the centre starts to run this time. He kicks over everybody's head. The waits it on. O'Hara flies back. It'll beat everyone the ball over the dead ball line. But O'Hara led the chase well and truly, and so also did Paul Felix. Not much chance of Warren Collicoat beating those two or John Ackland. They haven't got the pace to match Glenora's speedsters. So it'll be a tap on the 22 to Bindi Hokamai, who taps the ball. Straight ahead he goes. Hit hard after a run of about 5 metres. Taken to the ground. And we'll play it back to Cliff Pittman. But Glenora inside their own half now as it comes back to Jake Farfur. He tries to move his hips and crash through John Ackland's tackle, but Ackland just sways with him, takes him to the ground. He plays the ball back to Ronnie Bell. Bell turns it on to Dennis Williams. Back it goes to a Glenora player who hasn't got it, but somebody's been held and pulled by the back of the jersey. That was Glenora's Paul Gordon. Pulled back Brian Conning. And so a penalty has been given to Glenora. The tap's taken by Dennis Williams. Conning takes it out to Bindi Hokamai. Hokamai tries to get clear of the defence. Is beaten 1 and 2. Slips the pass to Farfu, who defends, knocks the ball backwards. And the referee says, no way will we allow that one to go. And it looked like a knock backward to me, but however, he says it went both ways. So we'll have a scrum just inside Glenora's half by about 3 metres. 7 minutes gone in the third quarter. The sun just starting to shine at the park. A strike for Glenora. They turn this scrum the right way for halfback to scamper away, but he couldn't move. Caught then by Shane Cooper. They play the ball. Back it goes now to Bell. Bell sends out to come out to Dennis Williams. Dane O'Hara just goes straight ahead, easily picked up and brought to the ground by Poesi. Schomkel from dummy half spins it out now to Ken Johnson, the winger. But Johnson is caught low by Marcus Poesi again as Schomkel waits to take it out from dummy half to his halfback Brian Conning. There goes Ronnie Bell, a loose forward, trying to accelerate, but they look for and wait for him. And in goes John Ackland to bring him to the ground. The loose forward Glenora play it back to his half, to his hooker. Pittman sends away to Bindi Hokamai, who stab kicks ahead. Hokamai picks up the ball too, and a great move by Hokamai, but he fell over head first. Will play the ball 10 outside the 22. Farfur can't spin it away, and almost offside are the Glenora players, but the last play the ball was on then. The tap was taken, and Hokamai has hurt himself slightly then as he went headlong down into the ground and trying to retrieve his short stab kick ahead. Couldn't flick the pass away. A scrum just outside the 22 of Van Albert. Away goes Brian Conning. The loose forward's not linking with him, and that's Ronnie Bell can't link. Conning taken on the tackle. It's back to Schomkel. Out it comes down to Hokamau. Dennis Williams cuts out a man. Sends it to Alan Williams. Williams is hit hard. Gets to his feet again. Starts to run. Gets to the 22. But in they go, the yellow jerseys. Randa Patel is the man that tackles. A player is hurt on the ground. It's back now to Dennis Williams. Calls the shots. Williams into Schomkel. Schomkel can't get away from a low tackle by Glenn Townsend. The player hurt is Marcus Poesi. On the grandstand side is Dane O'Hara, then held another low tackle, this time by Prome. They'll play it 18 metres short of the try line. Glenora spin it wide. Schomkel to Conning. They move up fast, Mount Albert. It's out to Dennis Williams. Out it goes to Bindi Hokamai. Knock on then by Ken Johnson. The ball goes Mount Albert's way. Bad play, Glenora. The play the ball is taken by Kepu, Shane Cooper, Gary Prome, who turns it back this time to Cooper again, calls his wing three-quarter Tuffy Lusitini, who hasn't had much chance today, and Lusitini on the ground, 10-metre mark, taken by Pat Poesa, getting to the halfway line. Mount Albert now, they spin it their own half, it comes back to Cooper, John Ackland, Jeff Ackland takes it, accelerates, gets outside, Jake Farfur, caught low, turns it back to Warren Collicoat, the races on Collicoat, he's got Williams to beat, he's hit hard by Williams, great tackle, the Glenora fullback. Plays the ball now. Mark Tarvey, the fullback, a dummy half. The other goes to Townsend. They've got him running now. It spins out of Shane Cooper. Cooper's caught, wrapped up in a Dane O'Hara smother tackle. Last play the ball, Mount Albert. You've got to spin it this time quickly, or is it a dropping coming on to John Ackland? Ackland delays, goes straight up centre field. Tries to get the ball away. He's given away to Gordon. Gordon's caught. Slipped away to Glenn Townsend. Still they work the terrace side. Jinks left go. He's lost control and will be caught in a tackle. So the sixth one on. They had a great chance too, and Collicoat sprinted. And Williams a fine defence tackle. 10 minutes gone in the second, should I say the third quarter. Still it's 7-all with a strike. Must be Glenora's if they want to, and they have put the ball in, and it's not to the satisfaction of the referee because the front rows have collapsed. And Brian Conning to put it in again. When Pittman gets down on the scrum, he gets down now. Conning puts it in, and it won't be a shot at goal. It's a scrum infringement against Brian Conning, so it gives Mount Albert a chance with a tap to be taken and a try on. 7-all. Shane Townsend will go the blind. Runs straight ahead this time. They wait for him. Fires it out all over the back of Mark Tarvey and over the sideline. So they in turn tossed away a chance of making full advantage of getting that scrum infringement penalty. So down goes another scrum. Terrace side now, 15 metres away from the try line. A tremendous battle for ascendancy here. The next try scorer could be the winner of the game. Conning gets the ball away. Straight away this time it goes to his wing three-quarter, Ken Johnson. And I should say to Paul Felix, and Felix is held in a tackle. He'll play the ball, taps it ahead, runs straight in then to Dominic Clark. Here, Clark with a headlock, brings him to the ground, and Felix plays it back. Finally, this time it comes back to Ronnie Bell. Bell out goes at the Bindi Hokamai. Dennis Williams bumps his way through 1 and 2. Gets past the 22, finally held, and a man is sick on the ground too, and that's Randall Patel, who felt the crunch of Dennis Williams. It's back now to Bindi Hokamai. Tries another stab, step ahead, turns nicely, picks the ball up. Knocked over by Gary Prome. Tried it twice, got away with it twice. Will play the ball, Hokamai taps ahead this time. Prome gets him. He's caught too, Gary Prome, because he did not go round and in front of him and conceded a penalty. They get panic stations, Mount Albert under pressure. So Dennis Williams will kick into the breeze and terrace side from centre field and right on the halfway mark. He went low trajectory too. Good kick by Dennis Williams. Found touch 12 metres outside the 22. Tap to be taken. Cliff fit with this big crowd. Calls equally divided. It's back to Brian Conning. Hokamai can't hold the ball. Picked up by Dennis Williams. Fires it way back to Schomkel. Starts to run on the terrace side, but he's caught then by Dominic Clark. On the 10 metres, they lost ground, Glenora. Dennis Lovell in the dummy half. Conning, out goes at the Ronnie Bell. Bell pops left and right, but he telegraphed to move, and Gary Prome read it easily. Takes him in a tackle. He'll play the ball back to Conning. Works the terrace side now out to Pittman. There's no one out there except one player, and that's Felix, and Felix is caught by two Mount Albert players. Dominic Clark has one, the other one is Paul Gordon. As they play the ball back to Cliff Pittman. Pittman delays it, sends it back to Dennis Lovell. Hits him right in the face of the ball. Knock on, says the referee. It'll be a scrum. And some not good football at the moment, Alan.
No, very poor, Des. It's not a good final, is it? Because there's too many mistakes. Both sides extremely nervous. The hard ground, I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, but they're just dropping passes that they should be taking in any other match.
Scrum has gone Glenora's way, out to Dennis Williams, lent for that ball. Out it goes now to Bindi Hokamai, Dane O'Hara, Alan Williams. Out it goes further on the field and is dropped over by Ken Johnson, picked up by Gary Prome. A switch then, Williams going into standoff and Hokamai going to inside centre. Didn't play off, it didn't get the results they'd liked, as Gary Prome has played the ball and Shane Cooper turns it nicely out to Rana Patel. Patel is knocked over, gets away now to Tuffy Lusitini, held by Ken Johnson. 2 metres inside, Glenora half. They're better now, made up. Oh, slow, knocked backwards, says the referee. Is Kosini Kepu just delayed things slightly, and they should have spun it and quickly spun it wide terrace side. From the play the ball now, it's out to Prome. Cooper goes straight ahead, tries to fool the defence, but he's held, gets the ball back to Gary Prome. Prome's trying to link with support. It's now out to Dominic Clark. He gets away to Townsend. Now their faces on. Laktavi comes back in field, gets away to Poetti. It's a knock on. Bad play, Mount Albert there. They don't correctly go one way. They start to move and head toward the open paddock, and then someone decides that they will cut infield into the oncoming defence and then try to continue on the movement again. And that slight delay has caused all sorts of bother. So Paul Gordon is hurt, breaks away from the scrum, goes to the ground. I don't know whether the referee will stop play or not, as Gordon... Yes, he's delaying the proceedings now. Let's have a look at those scrums that's gone on in the opening 14 minutes. 4-1, eh? Gee, that's Glenora winning the scrums, and 3-1 the penalties. And the results have been one penalty has gone Mount Albert's way. This game via a mass. So Brian Conning to put in, and puts it in, the strikes Glenora's, and let's have a look. The referee's unhappy as Glenora were really moving forward, and Mount Albert weren't quite correctly set. Down they go this time. Conning puts it in, waits for to take it out, takes it out now to Hokamai. Hokamai sends on to Alan Williams this time, the fullback, but he has lost control of ball, and Mount Albert will get it. And Gary Prome plays the ball now. It's back to Paul Gordon. Gordon sends it on to Shane Cooper. Cooper's held, still locked at 7-all this game, as Cooper will play the ball back to his hooker, Kosini Kepu. Here goes Dennis Lovell, drags him to the ground just outside the Glenora 22. Townsend waiting to take it out, gives it out to Cooper. Cooper sends it on to Patel. Randall Patel goes straight into the forward pack. It's held and knocked over by Dennis Lovell. A Looks like a boot comes flying through the air. Patow's as Shane Cooper turns out nicely to John Ackland. Ackland drops left, drops right, he's there! And Ackland has lifted this game up and may have won it for Mount Albert with a superb burst and clever footwork.
Came twice in the movement. He only covered 20 metres, but he was there quickly, and the tackle was grabbing him around the legs, but he stretched away and he reached out and scored that try. Excellent try, and Mount Albert looking good. Collicutt's conversion down the middle, so Mount Albert now back in front.
Well, that's the one they wanted, Mount Albert, and a lead of 12-7. I don't really give Glenora now much chance of pulling this one out of the fire, even though it's the 7 points have come from Mount Albert in this half. They haven't won the scrums either. They're losing at the rate of 3-1 and penalties 2. So their better team play has given them the lead when both sides fight for ascendancy like that and they struggle hard. A try takes a sting right out of you. And now Glenora have got so much to try and get back into the game. And with the wind behind Mount Albert, they can put pressure on Glenora, whose teamwork has not been good. There's the kick-off, a nice kick too by Dennis Williams, and no one raced to the 10 metres. They all waited for Rainer Patel to take the ball, which he has done. Knocked over then by Jake Farfur. They'll play it. That's Mount Albert. It's back now to Kosini Kepu. Shane Cooper onto Dominic Clark, held in a tackle. Plays the ball back to Shane Cooper. Cooper to Ackland, who kicks deeply this time. Alan Williams has nowhere near the correct positional play. Ken Johnson picks the ball up inside his own 22, starts the run, gets past the 22-2 quite easily. They're slower to move up Mount Albert at the moment, and he'll play the ball and taken with a tackle by Paul Gordon. It's out now to Ronnie Bell. Bell tries to slip underneath Prome. Prome is too clever for him, and the loose forward for Glenora to play it now with Cliff Pittman in at dummy half. He spins it wide to Conning. Conning out to Dennis Williams. Williams goes for a bumping run, takes on Shane Cooper, and Cooper does well to hold the former international, and he's taken in to the ground. He plays the ball. Brian Conning accelerates away this time, caught by Gary Prome. The dust flies at the park. The breeze strengthens slightly too, and Glenora look into that bit of a sign if it's going to appear and take on the breeze as Pat Poweza starts a run. Don't tell me they're playing better now. The ball goes back to Cliff Pittman. He fires it back again to Conning. Conning has it, will play it with the last play the ball on for Glenora just inside the own half to Schomka. Works the grandstand side. It's out to Hokomau. On it goes now to Ken Johnson. Now takes the ball from Jake Farfur, and Johnson comes back down and Fur beats 1 and 2 beats Tarvey. Turns up, looks for support, and given to Brian Conning. Conning has lost contact, gives that to Hokomau. Took away to Schomka. He's lost the ball. It's picked up by Kepu. Oh, they try to stiff arm him too, and they hit each other in the head, and Tarvey tries to drop the play. It's on. Underneath it all is Kepu, who they missed. The stiff arm and the two Glenora guys were that wild that, oh, there goes a butt from Jake Farfur, and he hit Townsend. The referee almost got shouldered. And Neville Kesher is on and down on the ground is Kepu. He might have got collected. I didn't think he did, actually. To me, the way they both threw stiff arms, because it was on, that... It's Windy Hokomau, who's had a number of cautions. I'm sure he'll hit for the sin bin now, and Kepu is lying right down in front of us here. He looks to be quite okay. 5 minutes in the sin bin for Hokomau. And he walks back looking, actually, at the moment. So, Glenora, you've in a very vital stage of this game with 19 minutes gone and a penalty. John Acton will kick down the grandstand touch, and they're going to play against 12 men, and Mount Albert, if they can get a bit of ball, will get into this game and could set the seal on this grand final. The tap to be taken about on the halfway line by Kepu. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm sure he might have done a Hollywood, actually, because I thought both the Glenora players went for the stiff arm and belted one another. The tap's taken out. It's out to Shane Cooper. Wide. Dominic Clark knocks it on. Picked up instead by Poweza. That's not the way to win this game either. And Jake Farfur has it now for Glenora, and he'll play it on a 5-metre mark in the Lions territory. Back to Schomka. They work the terrace side. Hokomai, I should say, not Hokomai. He's away, and it's Conning getting it out then to Ronnie Bell. Bell's held on a tackle as Conning takes it out further now to Dennis Level. He runs strong toward the 22. He's lost control of the ball, and it comes back to Paul Gordon instead. Conning has him. Dana O'Hara tries to get him to Gordon on the ground, about 8 metres outside the 22 of Mount Albert as Dominic Rainer Patel works the blind, turns it back into Prome. Great hands, Gary Prome, caught. And in centre field now, midway half and quarter, inside Mount Albert territory. The breeze is Mount Albert's way as Kepu runs strongly, held by Dana O'Hara. The dust flies as Kepu hits the ground. And he'll play the ball to his captain, Shane Cooper. They're in a bunch, Mount Albert, as John Ackland turns it on this time and knocks the ball on. So does everybody else. And offside, says the referee. And that's against Cliff Pittman. He allowed the advantage, really. It went Mount Albert's way then, as the knock-on was occurred by Glenora, then by Mount Albert, and then Glenora player offside in the second knock-on, and the referee picked up the Glenora player. So the first infringement didn't count at all, and Mount Albert's John Ackland will kick to the Mount Albert Glenora territory with a right foot kick down a left touch. A torpedo it is too. The flag's up about 12 outside the 22. Last quarter on, a lead of 5 points for Mount Albert. You look pretty good to me to take the grand final. Kepu taps now. Cooper doesn't have it. Randall Patel has it. Runs hard, straight. They wait for him. Taken on the 22 by Dennis Lovell. To play the ball now, it's back to Kepu. Kepu sends on to John Ackland. Straight ahead goes Gary Prone with that pass from Ackland. Turns it back this time to Dominic Clark. The ball on the ground. Conning dives for it. Who's got it? I'm not sure, but the referee returns, has a look and says, play it, and that could be Conning. Glenora have it instead. Is there a fight for possession between Kepu and Conning? As it's on now to Ken Johnson. Johnson tries to beat off one player, which he did. That was Paul Gordon. The winger veers and comes toward as a forward. He's on the deck now. Will play the ball just outside the 22 to Schomkel. On it goes to Dennis Williams. Accelerates. Turns it back nicely to Schomkel again. I think it is. And Schomkel's caught about 8 metres outside their half, or inside their own half, as Brian Conning quickly from dummy half. Glenora playing better now and quicker at their second phase play than they have been at any stage of the game when they're down 5 points. Schomkel in the dummy half from a Conning play the ball. Dennis Lovell inside the territory of Mount Albert by a couple of metres as the last play the ball goes on. Lovell held in a tackle by Prome. Schomkel from dummy half, wide now. Out it goes to Dennis Williams. Further to Jake Farfu. What's a prop forward doing out in that back line? I don't know. Farfu can't get the ball away. He's held in a tackle and by Kepu. So it's a 6-1 on Glenora, and they're not capitalising, Mount Albert, on the fact that Bindi Hokamau is in the sin bin, and Kepu is again hurt. He's been hurt a few times in this game. Gets slowly to his feet, the Mount Albert hooker. He's going to be a very sore boy tonight, as Cooper will put the ball in. Just slightly this side of the centre of the field. In it goes. A penalty. No, not a penalty. I thought it might have been because it went in and went out again. Paweza broke extremely fast from the second row, and it's Glenora who've struck well, and Brian Conning sends it out now to his loose forward, Ronnie Bell. Bell turns it on then to Ken Johnson, and Johnson gets hit hard and bowled over in the ground. The ball bounces straight back then to the fullback, Mark Tarvey, who picks it up from Mount Albert, and Johnson is hurt on the ground. No, it's not Tarvey. It would be Tusby Lusitini who picked up that loose ball, and now on the deck is another Mount Albert player. He's just about knocked out too with a back injury, and that's Paul Gordon, and Glenora's winger, Johnson, is out. No, it's Gary Prome getting to his feet. He's crook, and he's got it in the back, and Ken Johnson looked like he twisted his leg then, but they tried to work a quick move and they collided really, and one player had his leg really locked around the other, and over the top they went. The third quarter up now, scrums 5-1 Glenora's way, penalties 3-2 Glenora. But the point scorer says Mount Albert scored 7 points in the third quarter. And the difference, 12-5. The Lions lead the Bears. Paul Gordon and Kosini Kepu, who's not well at all, actually. He said, my left shoulder's gone, I want to come off. And on comes number 15, which is Ian Larson. They covered themselves well, and that's Mike McLennan, the coach. And Ian Larson is a recognised hooker. So he's come on with 18 minutes to go. Ken Johnson still not very happy.
He's been replaced by number 15, Ian Larson. And unfortunately the Bears.
And Johnson will go off, so I should imagine that Glenora's player will come over the top. Let's have a look who it is. Is it Barry Conning coming on? So the two Connings are on now. Barry Conning going onto the wing. He used to be a centre, but play the ball actioned now by Prome. Out it goes to Tuffy Lusitini in at dummy half. The winger taken to the ground and a tackle by Lovell in centre field. Larson now the new man with the ball, spins it out nicely to Shane Cooper. Cooper on to Paul Gordon. He delays slightly, tries to link up then with Jeff Ackland, and couldn't slip the pass away. Was held by Dennis Williams. Over in the terrace side now is Larson in the role of dummy half for Mount Albert. Puts his head down, looks pretty fit, scampers away, knocked over by Dane O'Hara. Over the terrace side is Warren Collicutt for dummy half to Cooper. Cooper out to Dominic Clark. Clark is almost getting his face slapped then as it's back to Randall Patel. Patel stands up in the tackle, looks for support, can't get it away. The 6th one on Mount Albert will have a scrum just inside the territory of the Lions, and Bindi Hokamai is called out of the sin bin. Mount Albert lead 12-7, and a pretty decisive lead, but the big crowd in the terrace is virtually packed today, by the way. The terraces at Carlo Park, the grandstand full, So something like 8,000 or 9,000 people to see this grand final. Looking for a converted try from Glenora to square the points. And they've got the scrum their way, Glenora, and Brian Conning had to fall on that ball at the moment. We'll play it back to Ronnie Bell. Bell gives it away to Bindi Hoekemeyer, who starts a run and is caught. Oh, Shane Cooper goes for a stiff arm at Bindi Hoekemeyer and gets away with it too. They play the ball and it's back to Brian Conning. Lovell takes it now. They're inside Mount Albert's territory. Lovell running across toward Tira's sideline is held by Dominic Clark. He gets up to play it now, and the wing three-quarter has it, and that is Paul Felix. He's almost getting clear of Warren Collicoat. Outside him was an unmarked Dane O'Hara. Caught on the 22. Conning out to Pittman. Pittman out to Jake Farfur. Farfur delays things because he takes on everyone and is knocked over by the standoff Glenn Townsend. In goes now Schomkel at dummy half. Ronnie Bell's there. Bindi Hoekemeyer is held in a tackle. Sixth one on. He just walked really into the cover defence too. Hoekemeyer not really putting a great deal of fire into his play. So we have a scrum just outside the 22 of Mount Albert. The breeze, of course, and the sun all Mount Albert's way, and they've scored 7 points in the third quarter. The scrum, it's Glenora's, and Brian Conning takes on everyone and beats everyone to Conning. Bends and almost gets away then from the second row. John Ackman, who broke fast and covered well. Cliff Pittman turns it on to Jake Farfur. Farfur can't link then with winger Barry Conning. 8 metres short of the line. They've got a chance, Glenora. Pittman spins it across to Brian Conning, across the goal mouth. Bindi Hoekemeyer. Dennis Williams goes up centre field. Jazzes through. 1-2. Knocked over in the end. 7 short of the line. In centre field, Glenora fight for ascendancy here. It's out now to Bindi Hoekemeyer. Ronnie Bell is held in a top and bottom tackle then, and he'll play it 6 metres short of the line. Kaweza, get out of there. He's in a dummy half. Out it goes to Brian Conning. Now it goes out to Ronnie Bell. Slips the pass away to Farfur. Barry Conning comes back in field. Heads for the try line. Can't get there. Last play the ball on. He's 1 pace short. Brian Conning, his brother, a dummy half. He can't move. They dive on him. It'll be the 6th tackle. Shane Cooper stood wide and simply flew at him when the play the ball was on. In no way could Brian Conning get that pass away, but fireworks then, and Kaweza is off the back of the scrum. Looks like he's going to come hurtling outside Dennis Williams, who's moved into standoff, so they've got to win it. Pittman has got to strike for his side here. They're packing a 5-man scrum. Remember, Gary Prohm is also off. And they have won the scrum, but the referee's not happy with it. That's Glenora. So if Poeza is going to take the ball, it's telegraphed the whole move, by the way, and they've got it, and Brian Conning has to go back for it, so he's nullified the entire movement. It was a set move on, and still they wait for Poeza to get cracking as the play the ball goes on away from there. Now it's out to Dennis Williams. Now to Poeza. Poeza, oh, he's easily taken. Bang, down he went like a shot. And the tackler then was Glenn Townsend, the littlest fellow on the Mount Albert side, you might as well say. Poeza's played the ball now. Bindi Hoekemeyer. Dennis Williams turns it back in to nobody, and it's picked up instead by Ronnie Bell. Bell runs straight ahead. They've lost contact with each other, Glenora. They play the ball now, and Cliff Pittman runs a little bit, flicks it back this time to Dennis Lovell. Lovell turns it on to Pat Poeza. He bangs away. He's just and no more knocked over. Oh, that was better work. 1 metre short of the try line, through the legs the ball goes. Bindi Hoekemeyer tries to redeem himself. Oh, he fires to the line, stopped there, close to the uprights. Converted try, could level the score. 5-all. Hoekemeyer to play the ball now. We'll try to play it. Back through the legs. No, he's there. No, he's not there. That was Pittman diving through. Over the top he went. Bangs his hand down there, and he had them gone. He lost possession. So it's up to the 22. Wow, they were shot too, Mount Albert. 12 minutes to go, and up to the 22. Once again, it's Glenora finishing stronger like they did in the first half. And blood pours from the left eye of Glenn Townsend. The tap to be taken by Paul Gordon. He runs straight ahead. In goes Poeza high, but the first tackler was Dennis Lovell. Ian Larson, the hooker, at dummy half, turns it to her side to Cooper. Randall Patel puts his head down and runs straight, taken to the ground then by Bindi Hoekemeyer. They get up to play at 10 outside the 22. They're getting clear of danger. Larson to Cooper, to Dominic Clark. They work correctly, Mount Albert. They're leading by 5. Tighten it up. Play good, solid, constructive football. No frills in this one as Larson runs ahead from dummy half. Poeza has him, but they've made almost the halfway. And that's Mount Albert as Clark takes it from dummy half to Shane Cooper. Cooper runs straight ahead. In goes Dennis Lovell. They're not prepared to unload it. Last play the ball on. And this is good tactics by Mount Albert as Larson runs from dummy half from the play the ball. Finds a bit of a gap and opens up. Turns the ball on to Paweza instead of a Mount Albert player. And the player he wanted the contact was Paul Gordon, but it's Glenora's second rower. The Maori boy has taken it now. Plays it to Fafua. Away goes this time Paul Felix. Bumps his way through Felix. Turns it on this time to fullback Alan Williams. Wham goes Tarvey. Down goes Williams. They both get up okay. They play the ball. Brian Conning O'Hara starts a bit of a run. He's knocked over on the 10-metre mark. Now they start to fight Glenora. They play out. It's out to Brian Conning. Vinny Hokamai. Come on, Hokamai. Start moving. You're walking into the tackle of Prohm. And he's taken on the ground 10 outside the 22. 5 points. Mount Albert lead. As they play the ball in centre field at Brian Conning. A terrace pass out to Pittman. Way out to Williams. He's knocked it on. We'll have a scrum on the 10-metre mark. Well, I don't know, Alan. They've got flashes of goodness, Glenora.
Still the mistakes coming, Des, as we into the last 10 minutes. They just can't hold the passes, the vital ones that are going to make the difference between scoring a try and not scoring.
And the scrum goes down the 10-metre mark. Mount Albert win it, I think, that Shane Cooper, but they're unhappy about that one. So we'll have another scrum, and it's Shane Cooper to put it in. He takes it out too, runs around the base of the scrum, drops a little bit, looks for support. The fullback's flying up to support him. He ends up on dummy half, Mark Harvey, and he runs from that particular position at the moment. Tries to get away from Ronnie Bell, and he's caught. And Bell hurts his leg at the moment. He gets either an abrasion or what's happened, but he lies on the ground. Bell is Gary Prohm is from dummy half, finds Paul Gordon. Gordon goes away from Alan Williams. Almost tries to leave everyone at the moment. He's caught in a tackle by Alan Williams in the end on the 22 as Gordon lies on the ground. I should say as the loose forward Ronnie Bell. John Ackland this time sets out for the try line. Finds Paul Gordon on the grandstand side. Back to Miranda Patel. Patel is caught, however, on the 22. And Glenora in desperate straits now. A try and it's all over in the grand final. Larson from dummy half to Gary Prohm. Prohm accelerates straight and correct in, but he's caught just and no more. He plays the ball, 10 outside the try line. Here goes Glenn Townsend's droppy, and it's a bad one. He hooked this one. He tried to clinch the game, which is good tactics by him, and instead the ball was hooked, and so we'll have a tap on the 22 to Glenora. There's the tap to be taken by Brian Conning, and Ronnie Bell is all right. Dennis Lovell has the ball now. It's held in a tackle by John Ackland. In goes Conning, Brian at dummy half, and he gets away now to Pittman. Pittman sends on to Paweza. Paweza has no one to link with, so he has to take the tackle, and they're virtually almost starting to concede defeat. They've got a long way to go to get inside the man over 22 at the moment. However, it is Bindi Hokamai on that far side with possession, and I should say Shomka with possession. They play the ball now, and it's back to Dennis Williams. A long way out to Hokamai. Hokamai goes for the little kick. It doesn't play off, and they dive on the ball. Glenora, the knock-on, says the referee. Will have a scrum 10 metres outside the 22, and on comes number 16, which is Kerry Huntley for Glenora, and Ronnie Bell goes off. Bell, who was the man injured just a short while ago.
And there you can see the players using their secondary placement.
Drops are high at the moment, and it's a scrum won by Mount Albert. It comes back to Shane Cooper. Cooper accelerates, gets it away to Townsend. Townsend props at the moment. Jinks left and right, still going Townsend, looking and trying to get contact, but he jazzed around and went the wrong way. They played the ball now. Gary Prohm, straight and hard from dummy half, dumped by 3 Glenora players. 8 minutes to go in this game, and Mount Albert call the tune by 5. 12-7 they lead. Here goes a droppy from Warren Collicoat. It looks there, and that will win the grand final. That drop kick of Warren Collicoat, he veered away from the terrace wing, came right out in centre field, and Collicoat has done the trick for Mount Albert, and that, I think, will finish it. 6-point lead, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. 7 minutes to go in the game. There's the kick-off, and a nice touch finder too, indeed, by Dennis Williams on the terrace side. They were asleep, Mount Albert, and he's brought play. At least they've got a fighting chance. The breeze is still in favour of Mount Albert, so is the sun. But it's they that have come back from being down 7-5 at half-time to be leading now by 13-7. An 8-point scoring spree by Mount Albert in the second half. Townsend to put it in. In it goes, taken by Brian Conning for Glenora. Up to Dennis Williams at standoff. Tries to slip the pass on the ground. Fires it out this time to his fullback, Alan Williams. Out it goes now to Paul Felix. Felix bumps, tries to get through the defence. Is held, however, by Marcus Poesi. He gets up to play the ball. That's Felix now to Dane O'Hara. Brian Conning takes it out to Shomko. On it goes to the new player on the paddock, Kerry Huntley, but he's knocked it on, Huntley. And so we'll have a scrum 10 metres outside Mount Albert's 22. And the scrum goes down. And Glenora take it out this time, and Brian Conning accelerates, turns it on to Vinny Hoekemeyer. Hoekemeyer goes for the try line, but it's caught by Tarvey, and he's been hit by Tarvey. I think the line umpire, no, Conning's been hit by someone, and on goes the line umpire, Neville Kesher. So that'll bring Glenora in Tarvey as Vinny Hoekemeyer, and I would imagine that he is the player that's going to have the shot at goal and give them a faint chance at least to try and win the grand final. Remember, there's a lead of 6 points. If he kicks this one, it comes down to 4, so a converted try could make the difference for Glenora. Wishful thinking, possibly so too, but Conning is all right. He's getting a massive water poured on the back of his neck now. And the best player today, the outstanding player, will win $200, I think it is, and that's the award today. In addition, there is, I think, a second and third player. The captain of Glenora is okay. Dennis Williams, because it was kickable. A tap's been taken. It's out now, and they fire it to the new player, Kerry Huntley, who has promptly dropped the ball, and then goes a Glenora player to retrieve it. So there was a chance that well, a bad mark, I would say, against Dennis Williams. Then he had an opportunity to have kicked for goal just outside the 22. It was within his range. The breeze was strong, sure, but he could have made it and brought them within 4 points. He's tossed that chance away, and there's still 5 to go in the game. And now there's a scrum right outside Mount Albert's uprights, and it's they that have won possession from the scrum. Mount Albert up goes, gets up Shane Cooper to play the ball. Gary Prome tries to bump his way through. He's thrown over the head then of Kerry Huntley, who went in, and Prome is on the ground, gets slowly to his feet. This has been a hard bruising game for a few players as Shane Cooper ducks left and right, accelerates the Mount Albert captain. A nice run of 20 metres, gets the ball not away to Ian Larson. I thought he was. Instead he had to take the tackle of Brian Conning. They reform the Mount Albert players behind their captain as Paul Gordon works the terror side now, hit hard and low by Dane O'Hara, and on goes another line umpire, and somebody has hit that Mount Albert player who's flat on his back. And the crowd are calling off as Paul Gordon gets to his feet, and at the present moment it is the Glenora player, and it looks like Ken Johnson has been called out and being cautioned for, or is it Paul Felix? I think it's Paul Felix is the man that's been questioned and talked to by the referee, so it's a penalty, Mount Albert. Glenora in those tactics have really conceded defeat. 5 or less than 5, 4.5 to go in the game now. The tap's taken inside Glenora territory. Ian Larson accelerates, runs hard, caught by Dennis Lovell just outside Glenora's 22. They'll play the ball now. It's Warren Collicoat, the man who really set the seal on this game with a droppy in possession, held in a tackle by Lovell on the 22. Larson, a dummy half, runs straight ahead. They're doing very, very correct football here by just going straight ahead and not being prepared to spin it out left or right. They're now 18 metres short of the try line as they play the ball. Shane Cooper gets away from one, can't beat away the second player, and he's held about 15 short of the try line. Randall Patel takes it out from dummy half this time, straight from dummy half. They've obviously closed the game up now and just doing orthodox moves, which is not good really when you're looking at rugby league. And the player of the day is John Ackland, who has the ball now, and he's over the try line. No, that's Paul Gordon over the try line, and he can't get the ball down. The runner-up players were Bindi Hoekemeyer for Glenora and Glenn Townsend for Mount Albert. And Shane Cooper now spins in a bit of a circle, gets away to Mark Tarvey. He fires away to Collicoat, who's there. That's really it now, and Mike Collicoat, the Doptigatas, has scored. A great night back at their club rooms, and at this stage one would say congratulations to coach Mike Mc. It's a simple try, but I did think that Glenora had conceded defeat really when they started to go and change their style of tactics to, after they had led 7-5, remember, at half-time. And the vital stages really came with Ackland's fine try, and that's really probably won him the award, as well as Colico kicks. Wait for it! How's that? Down goes the scrum on the terrace side. This big crowd really leaving the terraces now, and I suppose a lot of them are heading out for Mount Albert as well. Shane Cooper to put it in. The ball in the second row of Glenora's feet. Out it comes to Brian Conning. Hokamai sends it back to Dennis Williams, who veers back toward the scrum and runs into cover. Really picked up Dennis Williams. Had a strong game for his side. But those tactics certainly don't get very far when you run back into a pack of forwards like Mount Albert. They played the ball back to Cliff Pittman. Brian Conning takes it out down to Hokamai. Hokamai, one of the winners today of an award, sends it on nicely to Paul Felix. Felix is stopped in by Mark Tarvey, and he'll play the ball 8-10 metres outside the try line. Quickly, Brian Conning from dummy half. The ball on the ground is picked up by Jake Farfua. Runs hard and straight, loses possession. Knock on, says the referee, and we'll have a scrum. So 3 tries going to Mount Albert today to 1 only of Glenora, and Glenora's points coming from Dennis Williams. Scrum again to Glenora. They've certainly had a ton of chances today as Brian Conning goes right back to where the scrum was and almost slips through, stopped by John Ackland. He'll play the ball to Farfua. Out it comes now to Hokamau. Hokamau sends it to Dennis Williams. He props and goes back to the cover. Oh, some bad play here. No one wants to veer across field and spin it wide and use the wingers. Everyone steps back in field. As they play the ball, that's Glenora. Hokamau out to Dennis Lovell. Lovell tries to take on the forward pack. There's only about 1.5 minutes to go in this game, and he's held up about 2 metres short of the line. It's from Shomkul now, spinning it wide. Dennis Williams cuts back infield, delays, sends a pass across the goal mouth. Picked up nicely by Bindi Hokamai, who veers back to where Dennis Williams was. He turns on to Barry Conning. Conning is still about 15 metres short of the line. Starts a run, beats 1 and 2, just gets somebody, grabs him by the arm. There's the siren. It's all over. They've got a chance to score, and it's Glenora. Out it comes now to Dane O'Hara. O'Hara can't spin the ball wide. It's finished, and the grand final is theirs. Mount Albert. On come the Lions, dressed up in uniform too, and the crowd, also the cheerleaders, leap in the air. 3 tries to 1, down at half-time 7-5, and finally, of course, the finishing moves, particularly John Ackland, a lead of 12-7 in the 15th minute of the second half, and then the droppy by Warren Colico, a 13-7 lead. And finally, Colico finishing it off with a try. It was a simple one too, indeed. The scrums were well beaten in the scrums, 19-11. That's what Glenora won the scrums, almost 2-1. The penalties, Glenora 12-6. So that adds to really the performance of Mount Albert to be beaten 2-1. Both directions there. A great performance. And John Ackland, the man of the match. Runner-ups, Bindi Hokamai of Glenora, Glenn Townsend, one of his best games as stand-up today for Mount Albert. And so, some last-minute comments from Alan McLaughlin.
Well, I think if you go back to last year when this side, Mount Albert, were still in the second division, they win the championship and then come back up to win the premiership. Well, it's an amazing performance. And on the run of play, if we gave those figures, the scrums 19-11 in favour of Glenora. To lose possession that way, to lose out in the penalties 12-6, and to come back and to win the game by 3-1, well, I think the figures speak for themselves. And congratulations to the Mount Albert club, a tremendous performance. And Glenora, well, they just didn't have it on the day. They made far too many mistakes. They had the bigger pack, they had the ascendancy in the scrums, but they just couldn't put it together, and Mount Albert deserved it.
Thank you, Alan McLaughlin. Well, certainly it's all around congratulations down below us now with the chairman of the rugby league to come out, and a very, very fine performance for Mike McLennan. Stayed with him last year of second division, now to come out and perform something which hasn't been done in the premier competition. Come from a second division to a first division. One might say, well, is the standard of football that good in Auckland? Well, I won't answer that one at all. But however, the result was an 18-7 victory for Mount Albert. They came from behind in the second half. They had the wind, they had the sun. They lost the scrums, they lost the penalties, but they couldn't stop the brilliance of the side. On behalf of Alan McLaughlin, Des White, good afternoon, everyone, returning you to the studio.
And I'm sure also the people from Carlo Park will wish you and Andrew the best of luck when you go to England next week to start the new professional rugby league career. So.
Don't jump up in front.
Thank you very much to this. Shane, finally, congratulations to the Rugby League. We'd like to have you.
Σούμπερτ της Ελλάδας σήμερα.
Ο Μάνος Χατζηδάκης, διάσημος Έλληνας μουσουργός, βρίσκεται στη Μελβούρνη για το πρώτο του κονσέρτο στην Αυστραλία. Ένας άνθρωπος με πολλές ασχολίες στο μουσικό και ραδιοφωνικό χώρο δέχτηκε με πολύ χαρά και αγάπη την πρόσκληση που του έγινε από την Ελληνική Εβδομάδα να μας επισκεφτεί. Μαζί του έφερε τον από χρόνια φίλο και συνεργάτη
What the hell's that here?
Got a bit of an advantage with the breeze behind them, and also they've just had a penalty as well. Mount Albert inside the 5 metres, and Darryl Morrison will kick to the grandstand sideline. And with that break, here's the teams. Fullback for Otahu, Kerry Araya. The wings of David Pacquiato and Peter Simons at standoff, Darryl Morrison halfback. The front row, Frank Tinnett, left ball Simons, Peter Rapati, that's the front row. Second row, Owen Wright, Hugh McGann and Bob. The wings, Peter Kelly and Tapalu Zatini. Marcus Powesi and Cedric Love at the centres. Glenn Townsend, Shane Cooper, that's the standoff and half. The front row, Clayton Gray, Kosini, Kipu, Rano Patel. Gary Prome, John Ackman, second row, Mark Harvey, the last man down. And Otahu have won a scrum. Away goes Joe Rapati inside the Otahu Mount Albert territory, caught then by Tave, and you play the ball 10 metres in the centre of the field. Has lost possession, the penalty against Mount Albert. Second one coming up too. As I was looking down there, they must have won a scrum from set play. It's come out to the centre three-quarter Rapati, and in the end he's had the ball robbed of him. So it's Rapati going to have a shot at goal. certainly kicked two very, very fine shots. They were way out indeed, and Corral was off ball. The balls won't be wet, the light rain has fallen, probably mostly in autumn today too. The ground couldn't be better, I suppose, for the last one of the season. It's softened considerably by the rain we've had, and no doubt the Mount Albert players having their first run for 3 weeks will be delighted with a bit of sting out of the ground. Party just further back from the 10 metres, right out to centre field. He's probably a kick now of about 33, 34. Let's have a look. 22 and 10. It's 32. He'll be about 34 metres out, I suppose. So it's a big one for him, getting close to 40 yards. And he's got to punch this one pretty hard. He's got the power. When I saw him, the 2 kicks he's had. Nice natural kicker, comes up now, kicks and it's sliced, has the distance too, taken in the in-goal area there by Peter Kelly, the wing three-quarter, who jazzed it through, then Hugh McGann, caught from behind just by the wing three-quarter of Fusiaga. They'll play it, this is Mount Albert now, Kusini Kepu to John Eklund, and Eklund kicks nicely down that grandstand touch, coming across as Kerry Orion, it's beaten him. The Otahu fullback, a nice kick in by John Eklund, he floated it very, very well indeed. And back come Otahu now just about 10 metres outside the 22 in their half. Grandstand side, and Morrison to put it in for Otahu. In it goes, Mount Albert strike, Cooper a bit slow to pick it up, falls to the ground. We'll play it now to John Eklund, he gets away to Townsend. Townsend now to Collicote in close, but too close really. Crowell took him to the ground and the Mount Albert fullback plays it about on the 22 now. As it's back to Eklund, now it goes to Cooper. Townsend takes it out now to the centre three-quarter. And that's Cedric Lovett, the new player today for Mount Albert. He's caught by Owen Wright. Now across toward Terraside as Townsend gets it back to the grandstand wide with a long pass. Cooper finds Gary Frome. He gets inside the 22, calls Peter Kelly, trips over his own feet then, and he's caught about 12 short of the try line. They play at Mount Albert. Kepu now out, it goes to Cooper, long to pass Terraside to Townsend. Townsend out this time for Lovett, and Lovett is through, straight to through, he's there! A great try, Cedric Lovett, you slice through easily, and beat Terry Orion to drop down. A couple of less than 2 metres away from the grandstand upright. Very nice football indeed by Mount Albert. Nothing wrong with their form. Handling is very, very good indeed, correct, and not good play then by the Otahu centres and also fullback. So they started just a couple of seconds, well, a couple of minutes really before 2:30, and we've been going now about 5, and it's already 5 points up for Mount Albert. So the champions, which are not favoured today to win, have struck first against the breeze too, and Otahu that won the Rooster last week rocked slightly with that try of Lovett. There's a kick-off by Darryl Morrison on a shocker too, and it has not gone 10 metres. And the result is a penalty on the halfway line to Mount Albert, so things going very much astray for Otahu. John Eklund will kick toward us here from centre field. Taking his time at the moment as sights now the grandstand touch. Kicks toward us here. Good kick. Gained about 12 metres inside the territory of Otahu. The tap to be taken by their captain, Shane Cooper. There's the tap's taken, a work of scissors. Clayton Gray comes around behind, takes it well, knocked over by Peter Apati. And they'll play at Mount Albert just outside. Otahu's 22, and goes Kepu the hooker at dummy half, stopped by Peter Apati again. And closer to the grandstand side now as Gray gets into dummy half. Out it goes to John Eklund. Shane Cooper cuts out a man. Oh, waiting for him was Roger Rhoda. That Cedric Lovett was getting set up there. Rhoda had looked at Lovett. He had bowled him really completely. However, there goes to play the ball, and away goes the prop forward this time. And that is Randall Patel, and he's caught just a couple of metres outside the 22. They work the blind now. It's back to Mark Tarvey. Props, tries to sidestep through. Caught by Paul Simons, still on the quarter line. Otahu getting pinned down there at the moment. Down 5 Nicholas Kosini Kepu from dummy half. John Eklund, there's the bomb kick from him. Waiting for it is the fullback Kerry Orion. Hands are safe. They bowled him over too. That's Gary Frome. Drop out under the 6 Otahu. Orion there, correct and safe. Covered slightly too by Emil Fusiaga, who went back correctly and almost partially shielded his fullback by getting hit, but Frome went round and hit him hard and true and in the in-goal area. There's a drop out by Morrison, a topper. Ball shoots along the ground. Will be trapped instead by Mark Tarvine. has a look at the goal line. Prop starts a bit of a run. Here goes Owen Wright, takes him to the ground, and he'll be caught on the 22. Otahu down 5-0, still hard on defence as they play it back to Shane Cooper. This is Mount Albert's Kosini Kepler, sights a bit of the gap, slips through. Crowell has to take him low, let him go, caught him in the end. He's a slow hooker, but not a good tackle in by Crowell either. But they played the ball. It's back to John Ackland. Shane Cooper jazzes through nicely, cuts out one player, sweeps round, caught by Frank Tinatila. About 12 outside the try line. There's the second try coming up for Mount Albert. It's Peter Kelly to dummy half. John Ackland drops nicely, starts to accelerate. Otahu's struggling for ball here, and there goes the punch from Owen Wright. Then into John Ackland. Concedes a penalty. Warren Collicoat will have a shot at goal. At the moment, Shane Cooper has a bit of a chat. Let's have a look, see what's happening. Surely they're going to have a shot at goal. No, it's a tap to be taken. Well, here's a little stab kick ahead. Up the ball goes over everyone's arms, and Otahu's Crowell dives on it.
I don't know why they didn't
and a penalty again given to Mount Albert. This time they go further back now. Let's have a look to see whether Shane Cooper elects to have a shot at goal this time. No, he's gone for another tap. Well, it's a strange tactic. So they've decided no, it'll be a shot at goal. That's sensible. And it's about 10 or 12 away, I suppose, before 13 from the grandstand sideline. Collicoat will come back to almost a 22. Well, this one, wrong side for him. An instep kicker. 8 minutes gone. Light rain still falling. If anything, the wind has swung slightly now, and it's in the favour of Mount Albert, not Otahu, as I first mentioned. Collicoat now has gone past the quarter line. So we're in a direct line of this kick of his. It's about a metre outside and about 14 away from the sideline. First try to Cedric Lovett, easy, a slice through from the centre, prop, beat Kerry Orion, and it dragged him a little bit across field and then cut back. And a hard tackle for fullback, but there wasn't too much of a sidestep. Here he goes, Collicoat, lovely, is it going to stay? It stays there. He's right on form, Collicoat, so they have a good 7-point lead. Otahu really yet to look likely. Time gone, 10 minutes. Peter Simons re-kicks off for, is it a better kick? Yes, it is. Clayton Gray takes it, held by Paul Simons on Mount Albert's 10-metre mark. He'll play the ball back now to Randolph Patel. Patel starts a run, held low by Frank Tinatila and Peter Apati. Shane Cooper now waiting at dummy half, takes it out to John Ackland, props a little bit, jazzes through, turns an infield then to Shane Cooper, on it goes to Patel, on it goes to Kepu, who worked the blind, that's the grandstand side, he's knocked over Kepu by Daryl Morrison. 10 inside, now 12 inside Otahu's half. In goes Peter Kelly at dummy half. Away goes Cooper's pass to Glentown. Collicoat's knocked it on. Flying to Collicoat, coming hard from fullback position and almost through. Seemed to be probably the ball a little bit hard to take then. Hit him hard on the chest. He was nearly through the gap too. Bounced forward. He forced the scrum by chasing the knock-off. 10-metre mark in centre field now. Otahu's half. Morrison penalised, tossing it underneath his hooker's feet. Shakes his head, trots back, not happy. Otahu looking anything but a winning side at the moment. John Ackland kicks toward grandstand touch. A nice spiral kick. Flag is up on the quarter line. Tap to be taken by Captain Shane Cooper. 7-0, Mount Albert lead. No excitement for Otahu fans at the moment. Away goes Gary Prome, takes the pass, runs into Owen Wright, tripped to the ground and a leg arm tackle by, loses his jersey. In fact, he's just about lost everything. They play the ball, that's Mount Albert's Mark Tarwine. Takes it out to Shane Cooper, who's the dictator of play at the moment. In goes Owen Wright for the back of the jersey, takes him to the ground. Ray has it now, he's held high by Hugh McGann. And he's almost lost his jersey as well as Prome gets his jersey put back on again. Kepu from dummy half out to John Ackland. Away goes Glenn Townsend, zooms around, props, gets to the ball out to Marcus Boesi, knocked over, had to be taken by the winger too, and that would be Bakioto that came in for Otahu to save as they quickly play it as Tapalusantini at dummy half. Collicoat strong from dummy, from first pass, caught by Morrison, 2 metres short of the line. Don't tell me it's another try as they spin it wide Mount Albert now. Townsend can't hold it. Cooper picks up the bounced ball. It's going right for Mount Albert. Slips underneath the tackle as Watcherata cuts the pass out, sends on the carry. Try number 2 with ease. Well, there's only one side in it. the Leopards. Gary Pro. Things are going right for Mount Albert. The bounce of the ball that went Otahuhu's way last week. Today it's going for Mount Albert. So the Leopards in all sorts of strife. They're down 10-0. Kick of Collicoats to come. Well, that's quick for Mike McCullough, let's say that. The spell of 3 weeks. If you go back to think of what they did to Mount Albert, they won the grand final on a very indifferent preparation. They won it first up in the first prelim round and had to wait through a cancellation, and finally they had another one, so they played the grand final 2 games in 4 weeks. Now they've had another spell of almost 3 before playing their next one. And looks like they will take this game today, even though there's a long, long way to go. Something like 28 minutes before half-time. Another 40 on top of that. Collicoat now fairly wide out. Bang! Oh, it's going to go straight! Oh! Right down the center, Collicoat is hitting it beautifully too. 3 out of 3 for Collicoat, and a lead of 12-0 in 12 minutes. So, Otahu supporters, really looking for something now from your team. Light rain still falls at the flag. It's not affecting the handling of Mount Albert, which have really dominated the opening 10 minutes. There's the kick-off by Joe Rapani this time. Deep, waiting for Collicoat, the man who's kicked 3 on end. Is he going to have a touch finder? Instead he has a run caught by Owen Wright, just on the quarter line. Mount Albert, one of the rare occasions that Otahu have been that close to the line. And finally, it's Collicoat to get up to play the ball to Kosini Keppin. Works it past home. He runs straight from dummy half, then slips under Crowell's tackle, who let him go, and is caught by Peter Simon. So from the play the ball, Shane Cooper back up to Townsend, who came in close, runs into Owen Wright. Otahu not getting any ball. That's not good for them. They need it badly at the moment, and Townsend getting up the play from Wright's tackle. You play the ball back to Gary Prome. John Acton, the stab kick, and they've caught everyone here. Cooper races for now, takes the zone, or takes the kick then of John Acton, gets away to Mark Tarway, works down the terrace side, Tarway turns a lot pass high in the air, but back to John Acton. You wouldn't believe the luck that goes one way, and it's all Mount Albert, and Acton will play the ball. Back it comes to the prop forward, and that's Randolph Patel. Turns it on to John Acton. Townsend to stand up back to Shane Cooper. Mixed up slightly. He's caught. Can't get the pass away, and now it's 8 metres 5 outside the 22 of Otahu. From the play the ball, Kepu in a dummy half. There's a bomb kick by John Acton. Waiting for it is halfback Daryl Morrison. Takes it nicely. A chance to get some ball, and that's Otahu. He's knocked hard and correct by Randolph Patel. Morrison getting up to play the ball to Bob Crower. Crower, back hard. Control the ball, and a good solid tackle by Patel again. And the man that picked up the ball is Paul Simons, I think it is, and he's held by Gary Prome. Frank Tinatila now. In go the Mount Albert players. They're very strong on cover defence. Down goes Tinatila on the 22. He'll play the ball back to Paul Simon. Darryl Morrison cuts out Prome. Kicks for the terrace sideline. Gets nowhere near that. Centre field, the ball lands in Warren Collicoat's arms. Out it goes now to Tafalusatini. He just goes right through Peter Simon for these. Joe Rapati knocks him over 12 inside Otahu's half. The defence astray for Otahu at the moment as Shane Cooper from dummy half to Townsend. He decides he'll have a bit of a run. They look as though they're having their, well, probably their 20th game of the season, and the way they're clicking at the moment, not one game in 3 weeks. And the spin back from Shane Cooper finds Marcus Powesi. He slips through a cover defence, tackling caught in the end second time round by second row. Then there will be Hugh McGann. On the quarter line is Mount Albert, back to where they've been most of the game, and Shane Cooper, should say it's Townsend, turns it back to John Acklin, who can't hold it. Norman Morrison, it's a knock-on. So Otahu's advantage went astray, nothing clicking right for the Leopards this afternoon. And it's a scrum about 15-18 out from Otahu's line. Down 12-0. That's the lead that Mount Albert enjoy. Morrison puts it in. Penalty this time against Mount Albert for Kepu. So Morrison might kick for the grandstand sideline. He kicks correctly. Oh, does he ever? Correct statement by me. His sky is high in the air. Doesn't make the sideline. They're so slapsy Otahu. Collicoat sends it on this time, and it's a knock on to Kepu, so at least they've gained ground, but lost the advantage of the tap from Morrison.
And Otahuhu in its 70th Jubilee year would be liking a win today, but I can't see that eventuating. The scrum has been won by Otahuhu. Darryl Morrison starts a bit of a run, and caught by Prem, who broke wide on the open side, and brings the Otahuhu half back to the ground. They've played the ball now. It's come back to Peter Simons, Bob Crow, Roger Rhoda, Joe Rapati, and he tries to stand up, turns back to Roger Rhoda again. They're bunching and they're losing ground. Otahuhu as Prem drives back Rota near toward the borderline. Owen Wright getting into dummy half. Back to Peter Rapati. Wham! They're hitting him hard. Two front row forwards of Mount Albert, and down on the deck goes Peter Rapati. Paul Simons breaks in a deal. They hit him too hard and correct, and that was Kosini Kemper. So the Mount Albert forwards right on top at the moment. It's Peter Simons to Crowell. Crowell to Roger Rhoda, cuts out a player. There goes Kerry Araya. Hits it on the side of the wing, and away goes number 2 for Otahuhu, and that's Dave Takioka, but he's caught about a few metres short of the halfway line, and the first time bit of action from the Otahuhu backs. Scrum inside the Leopards' territory by a couple of metres, but they're trailing 12-0. Clock says 80 minutes gone in the first half, and they won the scrum to Otahuhu. They're trapped, they're holding it. Come on, second row, send it out, and it's finally Morrison gets the way up in front of Peter Simons. Joe Rapati picks the ball up, and it's caught by a covered offender. That would be Glenn Townsend. The tap ahead, Joe Rapati runs a bit further, gets through one tackle, knocked over by Shane Cooper. Just inside now Mount Albert's half as Crowell goes to dummy half. Peter Simons turns it back to Owen Wright, tries to scamper clear, but the covered offence is too strong, too correct in tactics, and Crome was the man that covered offended. Playing the ball, Owen Wright, back to Paul Simons. Morrison takes it out to Peter Rapati, he can't hold it, bounces off his chest, goes back to Mount Albert, and they will play the ball. From the play, the ball's Kemper that played it back to Cedric Lovett, I think it is, and he starts a very hard, strong-looking run. No, it's not him. I'm just thinking who gets up now. The weight three-quarter instead, and that would be Tafalusatini. He'll play the ball back to Kemper. On it goes to Shane Cooper. Props, turns, waits for Colico to come through. He's through, unloads it nicely to Mark Taylor. He's almost getting clear. Caught low then, and a good tackle by Peter Simons. But they're still in the Leopards' half. This is Mount Albert attacking right throughout the first quarter. Shane Cooper turns it back to Randall Patel. He kicks clear of Peter Simons' tackle. It's knocked over, however, by the covered offender, and that would be Owen Wright. They're now 20 short of the line, 20 metres in front of the sticks. John Acton fires it out now to Townsend, to Shane Cooper. Gary Prem's wide, turns it on nicely to Shane Cooper. Back it comes this time of Tafalusatini. He goes through. Is it try number 3? He's there. Try number 3 has pulled up for Mount. Well, it's a well-known fact that the Champion of Champions games are usually one-sided affairs, and believe it or not, I never thought that this would be the way it would turn out to be. Very one-sided match, with Mount Albert scoring very nearly close to a minute, 1 point a minute minutes at the end of the first quarter. The Mount Albert forwards are correct, their positional play is very, very good, they're moving up fast, their tackling is solid. They all look to be thoroughly enjoying the game, and so you would be, I think, if you're leading by 19-0. That's what's happened. The 17-0, I should say, the conversion has gone over. A lead of 17-0 in 19 minutes. Kolikota slammed 4 goals on end, and they've scored 3 tries. So the game really has come to a conclusion, you might say, at the end of the first quarter. Joe Rapati will kick this time toward Terrace side. There's the kick deep, waiting for it will be Tafalusatini. No, I think it's Marcus Powesi is starting a run. And he's knocked to the ground. He'll play the ball now. Back to Cassini Kempu. He's got Glenn Townsend on his left. Takes the pass. Out it comes now to Randolph Patel. Tries to slip it back to Clayton Gray, but he's dumped on the ground by Hugh McGann. They play at Mount Albert, and it's Clayton Gray now with the ball. He's held by Hugh McGann. Just about 5 outside the 22. It's Townsend now, his first pass back wide. It comes out to Marcus Powesi. He tries to beat Joe Rapati. A bit of a duel between these two players. Rapati knocks him over to the ground. As Mark Tarvey from dummy half scampers away from that position. Crowell has him and Owen Wright. But Mount Albert correct in their positional play. Their attack is spot on, and they look a winning team already. As Shane Cooper runs from dummy half to slip the pass through, it gets instead to Darryl Morrison. In go the Mount Albert forwards. Morrison almost losing the ground. Losing the ball, I should say, and he's held by Mark Tarvey. We'll play it on the halfway line to Owen Wright. offside. Man Albert up inside the 5 metres. The tap's been taken. There'll be another penalty conceded because Shane Cooper's a mile offside, and now they're up to the 22 before Paul Simons has the ball and will strip it back to, let's have a look. No one, he'll take the tap, which is what he should. They're down 17-0. Peter Simons takes it out now to Frank Tinatila. He can't move. He's held in a tackle by Gary Prout. A few metres outside the quarter line. Tinatila has played it back to Peter Simons. Roger Oda further out to Peter Rafati. Rafati's pass is astray. Mount Albert tries to dive on the ball. They picked it up now. Tafalusadini fires it nicely on the Clayton Gray. He runs hard, straight, and in goes Peter Simons to knock him over. And they'll play at about 5 inside Mount Albert's half. Terrace side. As Kepu in from dummy half, I should say not from dummy half, takes the ball out wide to Glenn Townsend. A knock-on, says the referee. We'll have a scrum. About 12 inside Mount Albert's half. 22 minutes gone. A lead of 17-0 Mount Albert over Otahuhu. Cooper running to put the ball in the second time as the scrum is almost in centre field, not about the 12-metre mark. Mount Albert backline is flat. There must be the loose arm has been dropped by Kosini Kepu, Mount Albert's hooker, and a penalty has been awarded to the Leopard. Have to be taken, or is it Darryl Morrison who kicked toward the grandstand touch? Let's hope he finds it this time. Very casual, but gets there. Just a couple of metres outside the 22, so he only must have gained about 5. That's not good kicking either. The tap's been taken by Emil Farfusiaga. He tries to go down that grandstand side, but is caught by John Eklund, and does well to hold the ball. Paul Simons waiting for the play the ball to be action. Gets the way now to Owen Wright. A long pass from here out to Hugh McGann. McGann out to Bob Crowell, but they fly up at Crowell and he can't move, and back goes Otahuhu. They've lost 10 metres in that move. Peter Rafati from dummy half to Peter Simons are on the halfway line now. Joe Rafati just gets inside that. That's how far they've gone back from the quarter line. Otahuhu, and he's knocked over. Joe Rafati will play it back to, let's have a look at Darryl Morrison. Morrison gets on to Hugh McGann. He can't move as in goes the Mount Albert forwards, which is the dominating factor in this game. They're fast and furious, down goes McGann, but he's played the ball back to Darryl Morrison, Peter Simons, Owen Wright. He doesn't know what has struck him either as he tries to turn. The cover defence is there, Eklund the tackler. Peter Simons in, looks left and right, finds Darryl Morrison behind him, gets the pass away nicely. On that far side goes Dave Pacchiotto, but he can't move. He's over the sideline, or the 6th tackle on him. About 12 inside Mount Albert's territory. Very, very little progress made by the Otahuhu attack. Mount Albert's defence is too good at the moment. Breeze still favours Mount Albert, which are defending the scoreboard end. 3 tries, 4 goals to their credit. All in the first quarter. And Shane Cooper waiting to put this ball in. It's been quite a disastrous start for Otahuhu. Seem to settle down now, and the rain still falling. But Mount Albert won a scrum. It's back now from Glenn Townsend. Out it goes to the centre 3/4, and that would be Cedric Glover, who's getting up and trying to get up to play this ball, which he has now. Has played it to Tuffy Lusatini, who often veers in and follows the movement. He's in centre field, the winger, playing on the terrace side, but he's back in centre field now. It's from the play of the ball. It's back to Marcus Powisi. Out it goes now to Glenn Townsend. Townsend sends on 11. I should say it's Marcus Powisi having a bit of a run. He kicks straight ahead. Oh, they bowl everybody over. There's a kick ahead, and it'll be a penalty given against Darryl Morrison for knocking over Powisi, not Lovett. They incorrectly called him then as he kicked ahead, followed through very strongly indeed, and Morrison knocked him over. The tap's been just about going to be taken as Morrison tears up there. He's been told to go back. Now the tap's been taken. It's out to John Eklund, Kosini Kepu, Glenn Townsend takes it, held in the tackle about 12 outside Otahuhu's line. And they play the ball. It's back to Kosini Kepu. He's caught as well then by the cover defence. The tackling Frank Tinatili. Still about 10 outside the centre of the uprights as Townsend works it out to John Eklund. Further goes out to Shane Cooper. Cooper sees gaps appearing everywhere. In goes high tackle from Owen Wright, and they're just about there. He's knocked the ball forward. Shane Cooper, no try. And we'll have a scrum 5 metres back into the field of play. And Otahuhu almost conceding their 4th try as Mount Albert's attack looks so strong. Morrison puts it in. Mount Albert can take it out. That's Shane Cooper held by Darryl Morrison about short of the line, close to the grandstand touch. They play the ball now. It's Peter Kelly running wide from dummy half. Hugh McGann holds him. holds him at a tackle and will play the ball back to Kepu. The hooker out it fires now to Mark Tarby. Props, jinks left and right throw, just holds him and no more. And they play the ball. This is right close to the Otahuhu line. In goes the prop forward, Clayton Gray. Dives over. In fact, he blossoms his way over with ease. Just a little bit of effort. One tries up for Mount Albert. And so they get into the 20s now. 26 minutes gone, 4 tries. Is it going to be 5 goals? And the press riders on my left here, just wondering just what really has gone wrong with Otahuhu, as the players are in a bunch, affair with only one. So despite the fact that Mount Albert gave the season away really after they had won the grand final and got beaten by Bay Roskill, they have certainly shown that they are the champion side in the 1981 competition. Try of Patau's has scored about 12 to the right, the grandstand side of the upright. Conico kicks, so it's there all right. It's now 22-0. And that's the score that says that none of it could make 40, and that would be an incredible factor if they reached that particular figure. Still 12 minutes to go before half-time, and I think this is the biggest hiding that Otahuhu so far have suffered this season. As Joe Rafati kicks off, the ball bounces against the shins then of Gary Prone. Prone picks it up, fends or tries to fend off Crowell, does fend him off, gets to his feet, plays it however the referee said so to Kosini Kepu. He runs wide, is caught by Peter Simons, about 5 inside their own half man up from the play the ball. It's Townsend. Townsend sends it on nicely to Randall Patel. Patel pushes off one, that's Roger Roda.